changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Soundstation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
Sanja loves to bake, but her feet, they were throbbing. Then one day, I found a solution. Arch supports from the Good Feet store. Have foot pain? Good Feet could help.
You too can live the life you love with arch supports from the Good Feet store.
Your favorite resale shop is also in the custom cabinet business. Habitat for Humanity Restores offers brand new cabinets and in-home measurement service, and sales benefit Habitat for Humanity home projects. Habitat's partnered with manufacturers to offer you brand new, high-quality solid wood custom cabinets in multiple style and color options, and we offer competitive pricing. Learn more about custom cabinets from Triangle Restores and how your dream project could make someone's dream of home ownership come true at trianglerestores.org.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. It is playoff time. NHL, NBA, and baseball is in full swing. FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet your first $5. Just visit FanDuel.com/Paul. Paul with a capital P, and sign up. Then you can bet on everything from slap shots to slam dunks to home runs, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So get started today. $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul, P-A-U-L, and get started. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
What companies would you want to work for? Just Capital is a nonprofit that tracks which companies are a force for good. Companies like Bank of America, which just earned the prestigious Just Capital 2024 seal. Bank of America is ranked #1 in the banking industry and #1 for their ongoing commitment to workers, offering best-in-class benefits, including a minimum wage of $25 an hour by 2025. Visit justcapital.com to learn how a just business is a better business.
Furnished by Just Capital.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs. This is the Adam Gold Show.
Now Natchez has sprung out for the score! Carolina with the opportunity, and Marty Natchez gets free and beats Shesterkin, and it's 3-2 at the Garden. Svechnikov across the ice, Burns a shot out in front. Oh, shoots, traffic out in front, they score! Seth Jarvis on the doorstep. 1:45 left in the third, and the Canes are within one.
It is Monday. Adam Gold Show, all across the great state of North Carolina. Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold today. Adam is out golfing. That is not even any sort of symbolism. That is not any sort of code. Adam Gold getting ready for the U.S. Open in a month and a half at Pinehurst, so he is out doing the journalistic duty. He put on a different hat, like the hat that I have on right now.
Yeah.
Which is camo, which for me, producer Victoria is here, which for me is kind of strange. I can't remember the last time I wore any sort of camouflage.
No, I can't even see your head. It's just, it's disguised
right
now.
Full John Cena mode here.
Yeah.
I think my uncle took me duck hunting when I was a kid. That may be the last time I wore, like, actual camo in the field. Again, I had the vest and things like that, too, but... it's been a hot second. It's not really my thing, to be honest, but I had to replace it with a hat that had a logo on it that would be on camera for those of you who watch the show on YouTube for about 3 hours, and they're not really paying for that, so I just figured I'd dig out the Durham Bulls camo hat, and if you
I like it.
If somebody wants it, I'll send it to them. Like, it's not my bag. That's what it is. But it's fine. It's comfortable. It's a nice hat.
Yes.
You know, it's a quality hat. It's got little snaps in the back too.
Oh, there you go. We'll see. And plus, if it gets dirty, can't even tell.
Right. So this is a truck stop camo hat. Like if it's got the snaps and not like the full fabric across or the fitted kind of look. But happy to send it to someone if they want it. If you see it on the camera, you. Happy to hand it off if someone around here doesn't claim it first. All right, Paul Eihander again in for Adam Gold. Adam will be back tomorrow. I suppose we should just get things rolling and get the bad news out of the way first. And we will kick off your normal Monday appointment. For those of you, this is kind of your first taste of sports for the day, and so I will lead off with this. Damn you, Mika Zibanejad!
I know.
Darn you, Vincent Trocheck!
Oh, that one stung.
New York Rangers 4, Carolina Hurricanes 3. It hasn't quite settled in for a lot of folks. Less than 24 hours removed from Game 1 of the Eastern Round 2 semifinals. Play-by-play announcer for the Carolina Hurricanes, Mike Maniscalco, will join us in roughly 13-14 minutes to dig a little bit deeper into this game. But as it always comes down to this time of year, it comes down to execution. It comes down to whether you want it bad enough, and to be honest, when it comes to the game of hockey, whether those hustle plays on special teams go your way. And for the Carolina Hurricanes, it did not go their way. Kudos to the New York Rangers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I watched the exact same game you did, and it is okay to praise the Rangers' performance. It truly is. When you score in under 30 seconds on each of your power play goal opportunities, when the Canes get sent to the box, you have done well. And when the Canes, on their power play opportunities, have trouble getting it into their sets, watching the Rangers extend out to them close to the blue line, and then go 0 of 5 on the power play, you know you're in for a rough afternoon.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't all bad, but it was about special teams and execution. Head coach Rod Brindamore talked about that pretty much being the difference.
A couple, kills we didn't quite execute right, and they did. They did. They made their 3 quick passes and hit it, and we were just a step off, and that's the difference. So it's tough because we played pretty hard, and I thought overall, as actually the game got on, we got a little better. But that's the difference.
What's the hockey cliche? Tic-tac-toe, right? Mm-hmm. The Rangers played a little tic-tac-toe on that ice. I mean, listen, it was a hopping place. It was a hopping crowd. There is something strange about Madison Square Garden for any visiting team, whether it's the Carolina Hurricanes, whether it's the Rangers, or whether it's even the New York Knicks, who seem to be on a roll lately. The Garden always just has everyone's kind of number and plays tricks on everyone.
Never been there.
You have, It's a very unique venue.
Okay.
When you have a train station literally beneath that venue, and then you come street side there at 40th and 6th, and you're like, the Garden. The Garden.
It's there.
And you're like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
With some of that comes that mystique, and comes with ghosts as well. So the Carolina Hurricanes, again, played okay, played just fine in terms of hustle and effort. With effort, though, comes opportunity, and the opportunities did not go the way for the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, I watched the exact same game all of you did. The opportunities for the Canes came pressing. It seemed after that first period, if some of you remember the movie The Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
But The Mighty Ducks 2. So in number 2, the Mighty Ducks played Iceland. And in the first period of that game, the Mighty Ducks, Team USA, played Iceland's game. They got rough. They got called for some boarding penalties. They were mashing them around. And in the first half of that game, even after all that, Team Iceland led 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
And coach walked in, Gordon Bombay walked in, much like Rod Brindamore walked into his locker room and said, "Guys, did you enjoy that?" And they all said, "Yeah!" And they're like, "Well, great. So did they, because we still trail in this game."
Yep.
Carolina Hurricanes turned things around, but after that first period, kind of felt a little bit strange. The captain, Jordan Stahl, talked about that pushback after that unusually sluggish first period.
Yeah, you can't spot him a couple goals like that, especially against that team. And, I thought we battled hard, got through our game, whether they were sitting back or we were getting our game, is a little bit of both. But we had a chance to get it. But we're going to learn from this one and get some really good things. And bottom five was there, especially, and special teams got to be better.
It's just one game, Victoria.
I know, and you can tell he sounds so deflated right now, but it's okay. It's just one game. It's still early.
It's okay for one game,
Yes.
and for me to believe, and we'll ask Mike Maniscalco this in a few minutes, for me to believe that this was the Canes' absolute best effort, wire to wire, no. But it leads me to believe that it is still there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, now it's about pushing some pressure, getting some guys uncorked. I do not want to be sitting here having this same discussion with those of you who follow the Canes on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
And by the way, for those of you who did not find out, the NHL, the National Hockey League, gave us the 2 game times for games 2 and 3 only. Both will be at 7 o'clock Eastern. So 7 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night in New York City at the Garden, and then 7 o'clock Eastern time Thursday at PNC Center as the series takes its turn in Raleigh.
Can't wait.
Nobody can wait.
I know.
I can't wait. I'm ready.
At least they're staying consistent with the timing, too. And they're not doing something crazy like 10:30.
It does
we're not
help.
on the West Coast.
It does help. Yeah, I want to wipe the taste of this one away.
Gone.
Like, it was, for a Cinco de Mayo, it should have been a much happier experience. For a lot of you, it should have been a fiesta, and we should have all said, ¿Cómo está? We should all said, muy bien. But instead, just sadness. And a case of the Mondays for a lot of Canes fans, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we will move on. Mike Maniscalco will give us a chance to move on as well. All right, a little Hoops Monday hookup for you. Jason Kidd got an extension. He ain't going nowhere, right? He ain't going nowhere after all. After the Lakers fired Darvin Ham just prior to the weekend, the Dallas Mavericks said, we probably don't want to give up a good thing while we have it. 3 years as the Dallas Mavericks coach, Jason Kidd has had an extension from the Dallas Mavericks. He was a potential candidate for the Lakers. Mavericks give him an extension. The Jason Dallas Mavericks kid, of course, he has a long, history with that franchise. So he's certainly not going to go anywhere, as other teams are looking for coaches out there, but he will be able to take them, hopefully, deeper into the playoffs, at least if you're a Mavericks fan. I want to give you a taste of the NBA there. Also, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards for the Minnesota Timberwolves has made the NBA playoffs more palatable for a lot of people. Why, you ask? Well, because for the Minnesota Timberwolves, he dropped 43 points against the world champion Denver Nuggets. That's special in itself because the Denver Nuggets are at home and have home court advantage. These two teams, the Denver Nuggets, had 57 wins in the regular season. The Timberwolves had 56. Timberwolves are a different kind of youthful team. Not quite youthful like Oklahoma City, but a good amount of youth, certainly with the guy they call Ant-Man and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards changed his game midway through that first half, or actually through the first half of that game. He was leading the team in points, but nobody else was scoring, and Denver was still up by 3. He started getting guys involved, including Mike Conley, who I believe has been in the NBA for as long as some high school seniors at this point, and Karl Anthony Towns, who got a few buckets as well. I had a special on one of the betting apps, Victoria, about this game, where Anthony Edwards only had to score 25 in one of the specials, and the other specials, he had to score a combined 50 with Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets. Anthony Edwards, as I just told everybody, had 43 points.
There you go.
Jamal Murray just had to show up.
Yeah, it's just like writing your name on the test. You get 5 points just to write your name correctly.
That's a great analogy. Right, just write your name on the test. There's 5 points.
There
You
you
will
go.
not fail this test.
All right.
That was Anthony Edwards. That was Anthony Edwards for the Minnesota Timberwolves, in which he willed them to win. He creates shots, had the game-winning drive at the end of that thing where it seemed like the Denver Nuggets did not want to play defense against him. Now, I will caution everybody. There is this... I don't want to say it out loud, but I'm going to have to say it out loud so everyone kind of understands where we're going here. The comparisons are to Michael Jordan into how he takes over games.
Oh.
And I'm not sure that's fair to Anthony Edwards because he is only 23. He was a number 1 pick. and he is a two-time All-Star anyway, at this point. Now, granted, All-Stars are kind of like handing out M&Ms at the free candy factory. You're just going to get one eventually. But he has played on the world stage. He does have a 6'4" frame that is crazy to say, nearly unguardable. He's built like LeBron. So again, I pulled out another example there of like,
Yeah.
uh-oh. Where are you going with this one, Paul? So there is the rub on Anthony Edwards. And they call him the Ant-Man. And he's in his early 20s and just scratching the surface. It's a lot of pressure to put on him. And again, not getting the splashy splash that you would get in a larger NBA market. And I think that's the issue with the NBA right now, is that they're struggling marketing the new stars, and they're leaning on people like you and I, Victoria, to pop them up and prop them up a little bit more. But this guy's legit. He has given me more hope at this point. And I don't say that lightly, because the NBA playoffs had kind of had me down a little bit. Like I was looking for my Steph Curry. I was looking for my LeBron. I wanted my Damian Lillard and Giannis takes. I was even looking forward to Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo out of Miami, and nothing happened. And Zion didn't even play. And Phoenix is out, and I'm like, where's the next guy? I like Nikola Jokic, but I'm not crazy about Nikola Jokic. I want something fresh and something new, and maybe Anthony Edwards has given that to us. All right, as we continue to keep things started, this is the one thing that is a monster fail when it comes to women's sports. The WNBA League Pass had listed every preseason game for streaming. Now, they had 2 games on Friday. One was the debut of the Indiana Fever, which, as we all know, the transformational player that is Caitlin Clark. But the other, and this is a full, you need to fall on the sword, Kathy Engelhart, and you haven't done it, and you need to, because this is embarrassing. They did not have the other game, which is the Sky, the Chicago Sky, and the Minnesota Lynx. They got an apology or whatever it was, but it wasn't there. So what happens is someone on X, Twitter, attended the game in Minnesota and posted, hey, if I live stream the game from my phone, would you watch? So 173,000 people at one point were watching a live stream women's basketball game between the Chicago Sky and Minnesota Lynx. 400,000 views through replay. Was shot partly in vertical mode. And that's just crazy to me. After all of this hype, after selling tickets to the WNBA draft, after trying to push players front and center, understanding how popular professional women's sports has gotten, not just basketball, hockey as well, college sports, not even counting that, the amount of NIL money that's being thrown out there. Deja Kelly, who's transferring from North Carolina to somewhere else, who signed an NIL deal with Bazooka. Congrats, Deja. Good luck to you. That the WNBA, this is it, cannot get a live stream together and has to rely on someone sitting in the stands. That is embarrassing.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Like, you miss the moment, right? If you don't take the shots, you're going to miss the shots. You can't get all this way and then go wah, wah to your fan base. The fan base that is literally causing you to move games from 5,000-seat arenas to 16,000-seat arenas because of how popular your sport is. And you didn't get it. Someone's going to pay the price for that one. Hopefully it's not an intern who didn't flip the switch. This goes all the way to the top. Trust me, business owners. Trust me, commissioners of leagues, CEOs, and people who head boards. If you take the fall, you will be respected. Got to take the fall on this one. You made a mistake. That is the last you will hear of it from me. All right, friends. It wasn't a great night for your Carolina Hurricanes, but possibly the tides could turn in Game 2. But to chop it up with us here on the Adam Gold Show, Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold is the play-by-play announcer for the Carolina Hurricanes, Mike Maniscalco. And Mike, you and I had the same vantage point of watching this game, and it just felt like out of the get-go, that first period just felt like it was almost too much of a hole for the Canes to dig out of.
Yeah, it's, that's kind of the story, Paul, when you look back on the game, that you give up those 2 power play goals in the first period, and the final score is one where you're going to be lamenting as you're the Canes that you lose this game by 1 because it came down to special teams. And it's what Rod Brind'Amour said after the game, too. It's the Rangers get those 2 power play goals. The Canes got their cracks on the power play, didn't score, and you skate out of game one looking up in the series standings, meaning, well, we got to try to find a way to win game two. You don't want to come back to Raleigh down 2-0. But I think overall it wasn't a terrible game. It was just a couple of moments on the penalty kill and, a loose moment to start the game, but the Canes answered right back after Zibanejad opened the scoring less than 3 minutes in. So, it's one of those things where, if you can put it in a vacuum, and you can't do it, Paul, I know this.
Yeah.
But if you can, if this was a game in December, you're like, well, the Canes, they fight, they stay in it. They didn't just say on to the next one. They actually, in the third period, were way better than the New York Rangers. But that in, $6 now can get you a cup of coffee somewhere. So that's about it.
Yeah, wins or losses are losses, and that's how it rolls out. Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. And, Mike, that goal by Marty Necas felt like the Canes really had some momentum going, like that ice had tilted. And in the playoffs, we know the ice shrinks a little bit, but it felt like it had opened up for the Carolina Hurricanes at that point. But that 5-on-5 battle still needs to be something that the Canes really need to strive to win even more so, with now just 6 games left to turn this thing around.
Yeah, that's the one thing for me is 5-on-5. It was the first period kind of even, second period Canes started getting to their game. That to me was where if the Canes were going to win it, they were going to get on the board with a second period goal, and they didn't. And you can run down all of the numbers all you want, and I know that they're a volume shooting team. That doesn't necessarily translate to shots on goal. Shots on goal can be a deceptive stat too, Paul, but I didn't think that the Canes were getting the volume of shots that they normally get that get through. The Rangers didn't block a ton of shots. This isn't like how the Islanders blocked 38 shots in the first game or the second game of the series last week, 2 weeks ago against the Canes. So for me, they played a really good road period in the second period. They needed to play better than really good. They needed a great road period. They needed a road period where they scored a goal, took the fans out of it at Madison Square Garden, kind of put a little bit of fear in the Rangers to the third. Now you go into the third and you score that goal early by Marty Necas, and just an absolutely gorgeous setup by Jordan Martinook, who is, we should start calling him Mr. Second Round for Carolina, because he was unbelievable last year against the Devils, and that's a hell of an assist that he gets to get Carolina within one. But then it's a loose play, and you let a guy who might be the Hart Trophy winner, the MVP of the league, come screaming down the wing. I know it's a save that Freddie Anderson, or a shot that Freddie Anderson wants back, but it's one you got to get the stop. But you can't let that happen, not in a playoff game, not when you're down a goal, and not when you're on the road. But, there is, and this is going to sound like coach speak, there's a lot of good that Carolina can take out of it, but you can't have that bad that was in that game show itself again in game number 2, or you could be coming back to Raleigh down 0-2.
Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco here on the Adam Gold Show. And Mike, we know Seth Jarvis getting that late goal there, his third in as many games. But there's another play I want to turn my attention to. Maybe it's unfair, maybe it's not, but you can walk me back if you want to. Right now, between Toronto and Boston, of which Toronto got ousted last night by the Boston Bruins, there's a lot of talk about Mitch Marner right now, and how he didn't show up in the playoffs, and how he may be on his way out of town, or whatever that happens to may be. I don't want the end of this series, when it leads the Canes' way, or whatever it is, to have Jake Gensel be part of that similar conversation with Mitch Marner. Call my baby ugly on that one. But I'm looking for him to press a little bit more. Maybe he's just pressing too much, because he's getting opportunities. He's just not cashing in.
I think that's the thing that we're all looking at here. And the funny thing is, people are coming up to me going, "What's wrong with Jake Gensel? And what? How come he's not playing at the expectations or at the level that he had at Pittsburgh?" And I take a look now. 1 goal, and it's an empty net goal. I get it, but the Canes have played 5 playoff games or 6 playoff games, and he's got 5 points. Now, he was brought here to score goals. He was the reason why the Canes, who don't do rentals usually when it comes to the trade deadline and adding for the playoffs, the reason why they went after and focused their attention on Jake Gensel is he scores playoff goals. I don't think that he's in the Mitch Marner category just because of all of the pressure that has been on the Toronto Maple Leafs forever and their little core group of players. And if anybody does anything wrong, and the funny thing is I thought Marner was actually okay in the playoffs for Toronto, but that's for Toronto talk show fodder, not for us here in Raleigh, Paul. But I get where there is a concern, because Jake Gensel was brought here to score goals in the playoffs. and the only goal he has right now is that empty netter. So what can be done? I think it's really simple, and maybe it is pressing. Maybe it is squeezing the stick a little bit more and wanting to be the difference, wanting to be the guy who changes the fortune around. For me, the simple thing is just shoot the puck. If Jake Gensel goes out of the game with 6 shots on goal, I don't think anybody on the team, I don't think any fan, I don't think any of us who talk about the game is going to be upset with a Jake Gensel 6-shot on goal performance. So I think it becomes a pretty simple edict. And against a team like the Rangers, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to put the puck on net. And what I mean by that is if you try to make the fancy play against them, they're really well coached. They've got really good players, and they're going to anticipate things. So you've got to be either letter perfect with your passes or just throw it on net. And the Jarvis goal that you referenced, yes, it's an extra attacker for Carolina, but that was caused by putting the puck on net and having a little bit of havoc in front of Igor Shesterkin. And that's one of the things that Jake Gensel was known for in Pittsburgh, of when he'd get the puck, he was just going to put it on net. So I think that he knows he's got to do that a little bit better and a little bit more. What's the word that I'm looking for here? I don't want to go too hyperbolic here in game 1 and round 2, but I think he's got to put it with a little bit more tenacity than what he is doing in the offensive zone. He doesn't need to defer to Andrei Svechnikov or Sebastian Aho. He's Jake Gensel. He can put the puck on net.
Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco here on the Adam Gold Show. Mike, last one for you here. I've said this after last night's game that even superheroes need days off, and head coach Rod Brindamore has leaned on Freddie Anderson. He got them the Series 1 win against the New York Islanders, came back last night against the Rangers. Even superheroes need the night off. Is it time for a goal change, much like we saw? I keep referencing Toronto-Boston. They made a quick goal change early on just to give the Rangers a slightly different look than they've already seen in the playoffs from the Carolina Hurricanes in net.
That, I think, is the number one question that's being asked by the Carolina Hurricanes coaching staff is, do you give Pyotr Kochetkov, who has good numbers against the New York Rangers in his career, he has good numbers at Madison Square Garden. Now, it's not a huge sample size, but he likes to play there, and he likes to play against Igor Shesterkin. Do you give him that? The funny thing is, Paul, the text that I got had nothing to do with Frederik Andersen playing too many games, although that's part of it, but it was the layoff too much for the Carolina Hurricanes between Game 5 of the Islanders and Game 1 of the Rangers series. So he had time off. It's not like the Canes went right from a Game 7 to Game 1. But this is an interesting question, and I think that if you leave it up to Frederik Andersen, he's going to want game number 2. He's going to want to go and play and show that the last game, and he wasn't great against the Islanders, even though he was the winner in the closeout game in Game 5. And again, that Game 1 against the Rangers, I can't fault him on the power play goals. I mean, those are just great plays by New York. And then the other one is the Zibanejad goal that kicked it off is, again, it's a mistake where the Canes miss coverage and you let one of the best players in the league, alone out in front of your netminder, and that becomes a 50-50 play. But the thing for me is, if you're the Hurricanes, if you think Freddie is the guy that is going to be the goalie who wins you the cup, I think you have to give him game number 2. This is me talking. I think you have to give him game number 2, and then you can go from there. If you don't get the result you want at Madison Square Garden tomorrow night, then you can say, all right, let's give him the look of Pyotr Kochetkov, and we can go from there. Or you can go into that game with I always hate saying giving a goalie a short leash. I hate that, Paul, because I think that you've got to, if you're giving the goalie the start, you're telling him it's his game to go out there and lose, but you're giving him the opportunity, go win it. Never say go out there and lose it, because if a goalie knows that, you hear, oh, he's on a short leash. If he gives up a goal in the first whatever, you might say, well, then just play the other guy if you're going to put the starter on the short leash. So I would never question anything that the Canes have done with the goaltending ranks, especially the last half of the year. So I'm going to give you a bit of a cop-out answer. If they want to go with Pyotr Kochetkov in game number 2, if they feel that that's the right decision, with what you're saying, give Freddie a chance to watch a game and mentally reset while the puck is in action, that's fine. It worked in the regular season. But if they also want to go, all right, Freddie, this is your crease, show us why we're going to give it to you, and he turns in a sparkling performance, which he's fully capable of doing, it can work that way for the Canes. Because you're still going to have that question mark, though, Paul. If you play him in game 2 and he wins, people are going to be going, well, he hasn't played this many games in a row since. And we all understand that. But I think that he's at least earned the opportunity. If he feels good and he wants to paint on Tuesday night, then you should give it to him.
Something to be said about having a New York bagel, Mike.
Oh, my God. There's not – look, no offense to any of the bagels anywhere, and I have consumed bagels all across this great continent of ours, Paul, as you can tell. But there is nothing better than a New York bagel.
Well, a New York bagel on the scoreboard would be just as nice. Mike, we'll catch you on the call tomorrow night.
You got it, Paul. Thanks.
All right, Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco here on the Adam Gold Show. Coming up next, Tom Brady feels the heat, and he can serve it up hot as well. Next up on the Adam Gold Show.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Robert in Raleigh, listening on 99.9 The Fan. What's up, Robert?
I got to go leftovers, macaroni and cheese. Michelle, I know you don't eat leftovers. My wife grew up eating leftovers. She'll bake a peach pie from scratch, have one piece, and then it's old. And I've heard you talking about where the best pizza's from. If you've not had Pepe's, Sally's, or Modern Pizza, they're all right there in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yep. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, everybody. Tim Donnelly here, and I want you to look down at your wrist right now. If you don't see an absolutely awesome watch that you can be proud of and want to show off, you want to listen to me about what I'm about to tell you when it comes to Fox & Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. You can get yourself an Omega, a brand new Omega from their Omega Boutique, which is the second largest of its kind in the entire country. That means Speedmasters, the model of Omega that is worn on the moon by multiple different astronauts. They call it the Moonwatch. Or something like a Seamaster. You may have seen it on a very particular spy movie that everyone is very familiar with. They also have pre-owned Rolexes over in their watch shop. They have all of these different brands. I have a G-Shock on my wrist as we speak right now. You can get one there. It's all at Fox & Bailey, located inside the Bailey's Fine Jewelry Village District location. You should have something you're proud of on your wrist.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loan, and personal loans. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Every so often in medicine, something comes along that is truly revolutionary.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, former orthopedic surgeon, now National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
I believe this is one of those things.
Dr. Scheinkup is talking about regenerative medicine, something he's practiced, researched, and written about for nearly 2 decades.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain, such as steroids and surgery, are no longer the best ways.
If you have pain from arthritis or injury, you owe it to yourself to learn more about this exciting option, using your own body's natural power to get lasting relief. And there's no better place to learn than QC Kinetics.
There is no one in this country today with more clinics, more satisfied patients, more advanced protocols, or more experience in using this exciting option to deliver life-changing results.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 919-400-5473. That's 919-400-5473. In Cary, Clayton, Raleigh, and Wake Forest, 919-400-5473.
If you want to save time and money and make your life better, Dr. Lori Travers at Travers LASIK is exactly what you contact lens wearers have been looking for. 20/20 vision awaits. 5 minutes per eye, 919-510-6830. Dr. Lori Travers is the only LASIK specialist in the Triangle. You can get the consultation for free. Go to TraversLASIK.com. Travers LASIK. And right now you can save $1,000. Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
This is Adam Gold.
North Carolinians wagered
$659,308,541 on sports.
It's a little bit.
Treat it as entertainment only. Just look at it as fun.
The Adam Gold Show.
Searching in the night. This goes straight to my karaoke nail it list.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I would sing this to my kids as a lullaby when they would go to sleep.
Huh.
And this one and some other Disney things and whatnot, and my kids loved it. But that's like a go-to for me.
That's a good one.
Karaoke. Paul Ihander here in for Adam Gold. Adam will be back tomorrow. Victoria is here as always. This past weekend has been a strange weekend for sports. We obviously had the NHL playoffs, the NBA playoffs. Later on in the program, we'll talk about basically the wide world of sports weekend. And I say wild, not just wide, but wild world of sports weekend, into which sports here in the United States, across the world, they would be considered just another event, but here in the States, they tend to be a spectacle, and we had so many spectacles this weekend in the U.S., so we'll touch on that coming up in the next hour for those of you who are sticking with the show today. Maybe you're out on your break or checking us out on the podcast or whatnot. We certainly appreciate you. I know Adam does, and I know Victoria does. I'm speaking for you, Victoria.
Yes, I agree with this.
Yeah, she appreciates that, too. But this sports weekend also involved a former athlete, but still in his prime, and there was the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix on Sunday night.
Yes.
And I caught it just a few moments after it started, and I stuck with it for quite a bit because it was off the charts. And the reason why this particular event was off the charts when it came to a roast, not just because it was Tom Brady. They invited a number of former athletes there, a number of guest stars, and a lot of comedians, but the focus on a lot of the jokes wasn't actually about the comedians in attendance, which is kind of half the bit about the roast, right? They spend more time roasting each other than they do the honored guest.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, I say Sunday night, was more about the honored guest than it was about each other as well. Plus, Tom Brady is like a name you can still kind of dig into.
Oh, for sure.
Right? There have been other roasts, and some of you who have seen these comedy roasts and stuff, you go way back in the day, for those of you who are listening, remember the Dean Martin celebrity roast.
Mm-hmm.
And now Comedy Central has moved that forward a little bit, and they've done Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy. They did Justin Bieber, but that was kind of a weird one, the singer, and he was coming off a couple of big hits, but still it's kind of Justin Bieber, and you're like, who is that kind of thing? They did David Hasselhoff, right? There was a roast of David Hasselhoff, but again, it's David Hasselhoff, guy from Baywatch, not super, like everybody's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll watch it kind of thing. But last night's Tom Brady. Tom Brady everywhere. And,
so much material.
Right. Plenty of material. You're talking about the football material, the play material, the real-life relationship material, the relationships he had with coaches, his teammates, just life in general. Tom Brady had this just treasure trove of things for all these comedians to use. Now, the one star of the show, to be frank, wasn't the host Kevin Hart, who did a very nice job setting the tone or whatnot. Unfortunately, we can't play a lot of the things that she said, but Nikki Glazer's set and roasting of Tom Brady spared no expense.
Love it.
She was everywhere, had something to say about everybody. Clearly, a lot of the material came towards Tom Brady's more relationships than it was anything else. The one I can repeat of hers, and again, there's a lot of things you couldn't because it was a little bit, as they say in the business, a little blue.
Right. Well, and if you've ever seen Nikki in any of her routines, we can't play that on the radio.
Yes, this was a star-making turn for her, right? She's done a lot of television, a lot of specials on Netflix. She's got a new HBO one coming out. I think she could do stadiums after this about how well it was received.
I'd go.
Yeah, I would too. It was amazing. The one thing she said is Tom Brady has 7 rings. Well, actually 8 since Giselle gave hers back.
Ooh.
But some of the clips, and again, these are the tamer ones, but just to show you how much this was more of a larger moment than it was just kind of a one-off on Netflix. Kevin Hart talked about Tom Brady, roasted Tom Brady about his failed relationships.
By the way, single life is what you deserve because you had no choice. Giselle gave you an ultimatum. Giselle said, you retire or we're done. That's what she said to you, Tom. You retire or we're done. And let me tell you something. When you got a chance to go 8 and 9 and all it will cost you is your wife and your kids, you got to do what you got to do. Do you understand me?
I love Kevin Hart so much.
Got to do, and he was the butt of many of the jokes from the day. It was all height jokes. Everything was all about height with Kevin Hart and his movies and whatnot. The lighter one, honestly, and again, this one troubles me as we're gonna play it here because he is so entrenched when it comes to football media. His SNL turn, the fact that he is kind of a pitchman everywhere, and everyone finds him to be incredibly humorous. But this was kind of the lowest of low-hanging fruit that didn't really go anywhere, and it came from Peyton Manning.
Honestly, it is great to be here with a bunch of people sitting around talking smack about Tom Brady, or as we call that in the Manning family, Thanksgiving.
It's like, okay.
Oh, it's
okay.
so good.
It's like, okay, Eli Manning said the same thing, too. He wanted to roast him and be at the roast, but he didn't want to do it for a third time.
Yeah.
You know,
been there, done that.
based on their history and
Nothing
whatnot.
new.
The one surprise, and I had speculated about this last week on my local show in Raleigh in the mornings, was the idea of Bill Belichick, whether he could be amusing or not.
Oh,
And-
going from humorous to non-humorous.
Right. Can he be funny? Can he not be funny? And he shared a ton of moments with Drew Bledsoe, who was, Drew Bledsoe, NFL All-Pro quarterback, replaced by Tom Brady. We all know the story. And Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, too, where they all took digs at each other and it felt all friendly and whatnot. But could Bill Belichick actually be funny? And so he did a 10-minute kind of, he did it for 10. He took a 10-minute set, and people truly enjoyed it. And Belichick he tried to roast Tom Brady about their time together.
For all of you out there that think about who's responsible for the Patriots' success during the time when Tom and I were there, was it Brady, was it me, was it Brady, was it me? In reality, the truth of the matter is, it was both of us because of me.
Belichick got a few more digs in and whatnot, but with all the roasts, again, this is what made this one a little bit more palatable to watch as the mainstream, because it was someone who wasn't like over the hill, someone who wasn't totally dead. It wasn't complete inside jokes because everyone's already in on the joke.
Yes.
Right? We all know the jokes. We all know what's coming. It's just how everyone can interpret it and how everyone can lean into it a little bit as a collection. Because and they did the promotion of this thing. They picked the right guy. It's very clear. They made him very uncomfortable at times. He played along with it, and then he finally got his say and pointed his gun, so to speak, at Bill Belichick.
I've been out of the game for a minute, so I'm curious. How many Super Bowl rings have you won since I left? Maybe it's not just the guy on the sideline. When I go to the Indy 500, I don't ask the winning driver, hey, who gassed up your car?
I see what he did
Yeah.
there.
Brady was fine.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
fine. Like everybody else was like, yes. And I think by the end of the night, again, because with roasts comes a little bit of adult beverage.
Oh, of course.
Drew Bledsoe clearly was drinking his own wine. He has a winery. I've had a chance to interview him years ago, and he opened up this winery in Washington State.
Wow.
That he calls Doubleback wines. which
Okay.
I don't know where the meaning comes from, but apparently they're very good wines. And clearly he had been drinking quite a bit, and he had used quite a bit of blue language as well. But the roast of that, and I always wonder, as you get into these and you start developing, like, I think there's going to be a new formula now when it comes to roasting, as they start developing these and pushing them, like, who would the next actual target be? And it almost feels like it would be from the sports world. And you're thinking, is it LeBron?
Yeah.
While he's still active, because he's kind of that face guy that could probably take it and understands the media and the entertainment side of things.
Yeah.
Just something to chew on that isn't mean-spirited, right?
No.
Because I think it would be easy to chew on NFL ownership, specifically one that takes a lot of heat, that happens to live in the state of North Carolina.
Likes to go to restaurants and take people's hats off.
I'm not naming names.
No.
But I think in good fun and to be able to take it, I
Mhm.
think that's one of those things that I think we could wrap our heads around a little
Yeah.
bit and maybe see if that's something that we could push
Well,
forward on.
with athletes and sports, we're kind of getting to know them more on a personal level, so it's easier to roast people because we know their personal stuff, and that's usually where, some of the digs come from.
Right, and that's the thing, right? With some of these other ones and the older kind of non-household names, the David Hasselhoffs, you have to be in on the joke to get the joke.
Yeah.
And with Tom Brady, we were all in on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and the timing's good, too. Like, I think you mentioned it's, like, fresh. All this stuff is still fresh. He hasn't been out of the game for, like, 5-10 years.
Right.
So
he's still relevant.
Yeah.
And still in the space. And going to be coming to a TV near you fairly soon if that Fox deal ever comes to fruition.
I'm sure it will.
All right, friends. Adam Gold's tapped out of the face-off. Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold. One-timers coming up next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It is playoff time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, people. Adam Gold here, and new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. Just tell them you know me. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. Hurricanes goals, Nikola Jokic triple doubles. I don't know. $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you make your first $5 wager. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. It's that easy to make sports even that much more enjoyable. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them, the ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing, the 65th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Avant Articulated Loaders for the right equipment to help get your work done. Avant makes the most multifunctional loaders in the world. Whether you're a landscaping pro or homeowner serious about property maintenance, you need an Avant loader. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized Avant dealer for sales, service, part, and rentals. Visit one of our 7 locations or actce.com for more details about Avant Articulated Loaders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
When you want to start something new, you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're a first-time student or returning to college, CFNC is right there with you. From deadlines to financial planning to completing your FAFSA, CFNC helps students of all ages in North Carolina stay on track and navigate the college process. Create an account today at cfnc.org and start your something new.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Charlotte this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 25 different sports. The Body Armor State Games features 13,000 athletes and 700 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Harris Teeter, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we like calling North Carolina home because being local matters. It's why in every county, we have agents whose hometown is your town. That means we're there when you need us most, with personal service you'd expect from a friend or neighbor. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Healthcare is in crisis, but there is a solution. Adults with a primary care physician have 33% lower healthcare costs and better health outcomes. It's time to reinvest in family medicine and other primary care specialties, the foundation of our healthcare system. Let our state and our insurers know that it's time to increase investment in primary care. To learn more, go to primarycarenc.org. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina Academy of Family Physicians.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is Adam Gold.
Please let the coach and GM pick this year.
Right.
And they put this on the sign outside of the restaurant, and I guess David Tepper actually went inside this restaurant.
Do you know that there is security video of that visit?
Wow.
The Adam Gold Show.
You can't get me to do this one, but I would sing it because I do love me some Miley.
Yes.
It is about the climb, Victoria.
It is about the climb.
It is always about the climb.
It's not over yet.
Paul Ihander in for the Adam Gold Show here. Adam's out today, out golfing. He'll be back tomorrow. Victoria is here as always. I suppose we could serve up some one-timers. All right, some quick takes from my mouth to yours. Victoria going to set a few things up here. What do we got?
Well, so I have to start things off with the Canes. Do you feel like, and you kind of addressed this earlier in the show, but do you feel like the Canes started out with their game not being themselves, and then after the first period kind of like, okay, we got to get back to our game? Or was it something else?
No, what you see is what you get. And I believe there is a Madison Square Garden mystique that comes along with playing there. It wasn't that the team was ready, and that's not a detriment to the Carolina Hurricanes. It's all props to the New York Rangers. I watched the same game you all watched. The Rangers executed about as well as they were going to do when it came to the game plan. Certainly in that first. It did not help that the penalty kill, the special teams, as we all like to say, did not work out for the Carolina Hurricanes. But it certainly worked out for the New York Rangers. That is for sure. In that first period, when you get on the power play and you score within the first 30 seconds, because you only got 2 minutes to work with in most cases, the New York Rangers capitalized on both those opportunities. And when I said, damn you, Mika Zibanejad, sorry, because that's what it was. It really came down to those special teams. And Carolina, no. They didn't really play their game as well as they could have, but the Rangers forced them into the Rangers style of play, and that's really, it was just too much of a hole for them to dig out. Even though they tried in that third period, they tried by hook or by crook, they just couldn't get it done. So stick taps to the Rangers on this one.
Yeah, exactly. Give them kudos where they deserve it. So, do you think the Canes it's like tough love. Do you think the Canes needed that first period to kind of slap them in the face and get them ready for the rest of the series?
I don't want to slap people in the face after the game has started, Victoria. No. No. There's no motivation needed. There's no doubt about it, but there are some reality checks coming, but I think they already understood the reality of what was in place. They had the Islanders first, the Islanders being a grinded-out team in the postseason because the Canes had seen them last year. They knew the Rangers were coming, and the Rangers were coming off a very convincing 4-game sweep of the Washington Capitals. Capitals really had no chance in that one. And the Rangers sat and they watched tape, and they executed what they needed to do, and they had a firm game plan in place. And I'm not saying the Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes did not have their firm game plan in place. They did. They did. They had what they needed to do. The good news is that I'm not sure the Hurricanes gave them their best shot yet, which is scary and unfortunately not so scary at the same time, because if you're going to come out in a 7-game series and you didn't give them your best shot in game 1, nobody wants to play from behind in a best of 7. And for my prediction of Canes in 6, Victoria, it's that much of a higher hill to climb for the Carolina Hurricanes.
It is. Miley Cyrus. Now, moving on to the next one.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Right? See? So, most people anticipated Panarin, Rempe, these guys being a problem. Obviously, Mika was a problem for us. So, do you think that these are all distractions because they have so much depth that they're just spread out thin, or did they just try a different tactic?
Well, as Dennis Green said, you play to win the game. No matter who's out in front of you, we all know what type of season this is. Regardless of who you go up against, you can put your top 4 pairs against their top 4 pairs and go, okay, analytics-wise, where's the decimal point here? Where's the percentage leaning here? We can put our defensemen up against the goalies and whatnot. Really, it still comes down to how well you can execute on the ice and how well you can push things forward. I think for the Carolina Hurricanes, I don't see any adjustments that are necessary. Now, speaking for the fans, and I've heard them in many occasions, and it led up to this point during the Islanders series too, as they would like to see a change in goal being made. It's not a change in goal because Freddie Anderson has been playing terribly. Freddie Anderson has been pretty good, but he didn't have it dialed in the way I think most people had expected. But you give up 2 power play goals. That's not all on the goalie. One player does not lose a game in the NHL. This is one of the true team games. There are very few hero efforts. There are hero saves when it comes to goaltending, but there are very few hero efforts when it comes to individual play. Guys will get hat tricks, and those are special nights. But it's a team win and a team loss. So on special teams, when you give up a couple of goals on a power play and your special teams don't execute, the other way, when you're 0 of 5 on power plays, and really, when you talk about shots on goal, while the Canes had 25 shots on goal, I believe 10 of them came in the last 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
When they were just pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
Snipe, 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 snipe. So, yes, you're going to increase that total, but does it mean anything? At the end of the day, it doesn't. For the Canes, could I see maybe a quick line change or whatnot? Maybe a Gensel swap with the Jarvis, but Jarvis is playing so well on that line with Stahl and Martinook. He is the key to that whole thing, and Jarvis got 3 goals in 3 games, so I'm not sure you even want to mess with that. But I'd like to see the star players get uncorked in a hurry, and not just with helpers, not with those assists. I need goal scoring. They've answered that question, whether or not they could get goals. Now they've got to play the 200-foot game, right? Make sure that everything is happening. Every hockey cliche, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, you can think of right now, dig those out of your pocket, lay them all on the table, and spread them out. Because that's what the Carolina Hurricanes are going to have to do Game 2 on Tuesday night in New York City.
Yeah, I did notice that they did put Jarvie back on the line with Aho and Gensel,
They
too.
did
I don't know if
indeed.
anyone caught that towards the end of the game. But moving on to the next one. So speaking of goalies and who's in net, do you think they should keep Freddie in and let him basically redeem himself, even though it wasn't his fault? I'm not blaming him at all. But do you think they should keep Freddie in for Game 2?
Have you ever eaten a not ripe strawberry, Victoria?
Yes.
And what's that taste like? Bitter. Not so good, right?
Yeah.
So for Freddie Anderson, he has now been on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Just once here in this series, but again, it's only a Game 1, so everybody just simmer down now, simmer down. It's just Game 1. Freddie Anderson, for his sake, would like to wipe the taste of that Game 1 out of his mouth. So for the fan base, in terms of starting Pyotr Kochetkov and letting Freddie kind of settle in and take that night off, perhaps. But what happens in the playoffs when you have a hot goalie and it's not really a night off for him? Those were 3 pure goals given up by the New York Rangers in 5-on-5 action. There were 2 pure goals in 5-on-5 and 2 on special teams, which is where the Rangers excel, which is where the Hurricanes normally excel when it comes to defending on those power plays. So, do you sit Freddie Anderson? Do you start Pyotr Kochetkov? For me, right now, Sharpie period. No.
Yeah.
Start Freddie in Game 2. Let him wipe that nasty, nasty, bitter strawberry out of his mouth at the Madison Square Garden. Let him get a chance, as we talked with Mike Maniscalco earlier in the hour, to get that New York bagel. Because he's seen it now. He knows what it looks like. And 2 of those not necessarily on him, but he will shoulder some of that blame. And goalies, as you know, Victoria, are a strange bit.
Yes.
They are a strange bit from time to time and are wired completely differently. He would love to get that W in Game 2, and I would love to see him get that for him. So Sharpie period, no Pyotr Kochetkov, Freddie Anderson, Game 2 start, at least for my money.
Okay. Well, and last but not least, Tony DeAngelo almost got a 4-minute major on a call that ended up being a 2-minute roughing. Do you think that was even a penalty at all, if you know what I'm referencing?
I do know what you're referencing. It was a high hit. I don't think the NHL officials on the ice could do much more with that one because they don't have a chance to review it. So, yeah, unfortunately, penalty. That didn't really do much. Adam Gold Show rolls on. Stick around, kids.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. With this reminder, you know the U.S. Open's not that far away. I know the PGA Championship is next, but since I'm at Pinehurst, where Wyndham Clark was the defending champ, or is the defending champ, at plus 2,900 coming up in just a few months, Father's Day weekend, think about it. You can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, whether you win or lose your first $5 wager. It's that simple. I'll make sure you get $200 in bonus bets, and then you can sprinkle them all over whatever you want to do. Just go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold, sign up, make your first $5 wager. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
And the best artist with the best new scratch-offs, Mr. First Tuesday!
Wow. I'm so proud my music is bringing luck and joy to so many people. First, I'd like to thank those who invented the calendar, and to all the First Tuesdays many years ago, and to all scratchers out there. No matter if you use your nail or a coin, we all share the same First Tuesday love. First Tuesday kisses to you all.
New scratch-offs every first Tuesday of the month.
Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline, 877-718-5543.
Autobell Car Wash has been trusted for 55 years for high-quality service. We'll clean your car from the inside out. Now through June 2nd, buy 2 Super Poly Process Wash tickets at any Autobell for just $55.
People can tell we knew Autobell.
It's Window Nation's semi-annual sale, and it's a big deal. Right now, get 50% off all windows, along with no interest for 5 years. Plus, bonus savings when you schedule a consult today. If your windows leak, get foggy or hot, or you're paying high utility bills, that's a big deal. With Window Nation's semi-annual sale, you can replace your windows and save a big deal too. Schedule a no-obligation in-home estimate. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
It's time to shop sparkling deals. It's Bailey's Fine Jewelry's multi-million-dollar inventory reduction sale.
Going on now.
Shop jewelry up to 60% off. Diamonds, watches, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings are all on sale. The perfect time to shop for Mother's Day, anniversary, or engagement rings without breaking the bank. Shop the largest selection of luxury jewelry for less at Bailey's Big Sale. Learn more at BaileyBox.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry, who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise in the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Want to win a trip to the 84th Annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally and a custom Harley-Davidson performance bagger? The Law Tigers are giving away the ultimate trip of a lifetime. Go to stylininSturgis.com to enter. Prizes include VIP stay at Glencoe Camping Resort, custom Harley-Davidson built by Lane Splitter Garage, sound system by Rockford Fosgate, turbo from Trask Performance, parts from J&P Cycles, firearms from Magnum Research, jewelry from Anvil's Cash, and bikes from Soul E-Bikes. Go to stylininSturgis.com to enter today.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
At this juncture, Ray, anytime you have the opportunity, send it toward the net. So often, these overtime games end on a strange bounce or rebound.
Send it to the net and get people to the net.
Lindholm, right wing corner. Pasternak is there. He scores! David Pasternak wins it for Boston.
And the talk in Toronto in the Eastern Conference for you Canes fans and just general NHL hockey fans is tear up Toronto. Turn them up, shake them up, turn them upside down, and figure out what's next, because what has not been working is the lack of advancement in the NHL, Stanley Cup playoffs, and the postseason. Not going anywhere. And for those of you who didn't go anywhere from the last hour, we appreciate you. Adam Gold Show here on this Monday. Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today. He returns tomorrow. Hopefully we have lightened your load today and helped you out, get you up to date on everything that you may want to chat about with your buddies and friends and family about sports. Victoria is here as always. And as we reset things here, as we start the hour here, the Carolina Hurricanes, We're supposed to play something here, right? Yes, something? I don't know.
Got
Is there
some
something?
music,
Is there?
yeah.
There's something here. As we run it back here, the Carolina Hurricanes 4-3 against the New York Rangers last night. Still less than 24 hours away from the end of that disappointment. But here's the deal, hockey fans. You may not have had the chance to have that disappointment on Sunday if 27 years ago, then Hartford Whalers owner Peter Kamanos decided not to move this team to North Carolina. Today was the day. This is the anniversary day, 27 years ago, of moving day for the Carolina Hurricanes to come here. So listen, there is a little silver lining, right? There's an anniversary today. I'm not saying go out and get a card or, crack open a bottle of champagne or whatever it is. But you actually have a team to have heartbreak with. Because, Victoria, you've had so much heartbreak with the Panthers lately.
Oh, my goodness, so much misery.
That you may need to spread that heartbreak around just a little teeny bit.
Yeah.
Just a little teeny bit.
Makes sense.
But the thought is today, with a 4-3 loss to the New York Rangers, in which the special teams were all about the Rangers and not about your Carolina Hurricanes. And when you say special teams, Paul, what do you mean? Well, special teams means essentially getting those 5-on-4 goals when your opponent gets sent to the box, the penalty box that is, for 2-minute minor, or wherever it happens to be, hooking, slashing, delay of game, whatever, tripping, whatever you like, that you capitalize on that opportunity as the other team is a man down. The New York Rangers did it twice within 30 seconds of going on the power play. Carolina Hurricanes were 0 of 5. Why does this mean so much? Because when you talk about special teams and how special those things are, the NHL stats, which are widely available to everybody, but someone decided to compile them just a couple of hours ago, every team that advanced in the NHL playoffs won their special teams battle.
Interesting.
All 8 teams. The closest of the 2 teams when it came to special teams was the Tampa-Florida series, in which Tampa was just a handful of points behind in terms of execution on special teams than the Florida Panthers were. The Florida Panthers moved on. Tampa did not.
Yes.
The top team when it came to special teams in the NHL, Edmonton.
Oh, wow.
Edmonton has killed every penalty thrown at them.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that saved them a lot of times.
Yes.
Is having those.
Yeah, Edmonton took out the LA Kings. They will now take on Vancouver, which for Canada, everyone's excited. They're not so excited about that Toronto-Boston blast off by the Bruins. But when it comes to Vancouver and Edmonton, there will be a Canadian team in a conference final in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. And they don't have to worry about it. The Panthers will take care of Boston.
Florida will route.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be Florida and the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference final.
I like it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed,
Just put
right?
it out there, Paul. Like, it's fine by me.
I am. I'm a big fan.
Yes.
Big fan of saying things and making them happen. Now, some people, my wife, like my kids, would disagree. Dad, you promised you'd play games with me. I know, but I just have to find the score of this, and then it turns into this. But you never play with me. It goes from you promised to play with me to you never play with me. And my daughter, who's a lovely 6, looks at me with these big, big eyes of her.
Mm-hmm.
She knows she's got me.
Oh, yeah.
She's got me.
Especially throwing out stuff like that. You're like, well, guess I'm dropping everything
I know.
now.
Hey, it's guys. I wore a brooch the other day. Like, I had a brooch on because my daughter wanted to play dress. She goes, will this fit you? And I looked at her and I said, I don't know, but I guess you could try.
Right. I guess we're going to find out.
Right.
Did you have a tea party, too? Did it go that full, like?
No, we don't go full tea. Well, I can't say that I've never had a tea party with her. I actually have a video on my phone during the lockdown.
Oh, yes.
The lockdown in which she served me fake plastic food. And as you all know, parents out there listening, plastic food is not very filling.
No.
It does not satisfy.
No calories, though.
Yeah, that's very true. It's light on the calories, but it doesn't solve any of the hunger pains. And when you play said game over and over and over again, you start going, you know what? It would have been nice to actually have real food as a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got to suck it up and go, if I bring out real food, it means another 2 hours of this tea party.
Exactly. Yeah.
Double-edged sword, friends. Double-edged sword. But those Carolina Hurricanes, even superheroes need days off. And for those of you who are thinking perhaps there could be a goalie change in play, here's the argument for it. Now, I'm not crazy about it because I think Freddie Anderson needs to wipe the bad strawberry taste out of his mouth. Those strawberries that got picked from the fields a little too early little bit frosty, not as sweet. And as we know in the Carolinas, especially in the Raleigh area and the East Carolina and the Plains, that it is really ripe time for strawberries.
Yes.
Like deliciousness.
Perfect.
And I'm not a strawberry guy, but even I know that this is the time.
Yeah,
Like,
oh yeah. See, I'm growing strawberries in my driveway actually right now.
Intentionally?
Yes, on purpose.
And you're
I've
running
been
them-
doing it for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now they're not ripe enough. They're green.
Is it a varietal? Do you call it the Victoria variety?
I should. I don't, but I should now.
give it a guess. Seriously, I mean, if you're going to own it, just fully own it.
All the way in.
But there are some thoughts that there is a bad taste in the mouth of Freddie Anderson, who gave up a couple of goals and a couple of goals on the power play, too, in the 4-3 loss to the Rangers on Sunday afternoon. And to where, as goalies are wired, he would like to take that taste out of his mouth. Now, the fans, and I've seen it, and I've heard it, the fans would like to see a change. They would love to see what Pyotr Kochetkov could do, just to change the fortunes, just to switch things up just a hot second. And they might be right. They might be right. But in the playoffs, as we know, and this is a tradition in the NHL, you stick with a hot goalie. We saw what the Islanders tried to do against the Hurricanes in the last round, and it just didn't work out. But it did work out in Boston, where they did make a switch. They switched back. But again, this was about giving the other team a slightly different look in a player that hasn't taken the ice in a while, who knows he has some success in Pyotr Kochetkov on the MSG ice.
Yeah.
And would it be a wise move? I'm not saying it's a wise move again. I'm leaning on leaving Freddie in net and ride or die with the guy that brought you to the dance.
Well, and Boston, too, is a weird situation because both of their goalies are like the most elite ones in the league. They really are the only reason
Ullmark
that
and Swayman
Boston
are
was in there.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys are amazeballs.
They've had to stand on their head like multiple times.
Yeah, and they spin, they do the helicopter,
All
the
of it.
worm. Yeah, we don't have to go really down that rabbit hole. But yes, sometimes superheroes need days off, and Freddie Anderson got you to this point. You leaned on him very hard, and we saw him make a couple of sprawl saves against the Islanders, and you rode him the entire way through that 5-game series, and you let him goalie right up through that road trip right before we started the Stanley Cup playoffs. He is the guy. But sometimes, as you fans have clamored for, sometimes superheroes need days off, clear their head, because not every bank robber can be caught. Not every person who steals the old lady's bus money can be caught as well, or who took the last piece of pizza at the end of the party. He might need a night off. But for me right now, ride the horse until it bucks you.
Yeah, you should.
That's where I'm at.
I know people like Pyotr's spunk, but I think give Freddie another day.
A note for you here that snuck under the radar, Victoria, that I know you might be interested in. There is a very crowded running back in the Carolina Panthers running back room, right? It's a little bit crowded. Lots of guys there. You got Miles Sanders. You got Chuba Hubbard. They just drafted Jonathan Brooks. They've got Rasheem Blackshear. Tariq Cohen is in there. I've just listed 5 guys that you will probably forget in the next 5 seconds. They're about to add one more. Rashad Penny. Veteran free agent, played a cup of coffee last year with the Philadelphia Eagles, was buried on the depth chart there, had been recovering from a broken leg, but played in Seattle. Played in Seattle for 5 seasons, was a first-round draft choice for them, was kind of a workhorse of a running back, kind of a bowling ball running back, big power, big yards, was a fantasy friend, I think, for a bunch of teams in 2021, and can run the rock. And Dave Canales has seen him in person.
Wow.
So, only from 30,000 feet, in what I just told you, is this worth a flyer, Victoria, for the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, geez. It's just frustrating for me that they keep filling gaps that don't necessarily need to be filled.
You're waiting on Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But besides Stephon Gilmore, let's talk about Penny. Worth the flyer or not?
Hopefully. I hope they're making better decisions. Hopefully they see something that he can bring to the team and be successful with. So I'm trying to trust Canales. I'm trying.
He does know the system. He does
Yes.
know a little bit of the system that he's trying to work in.
Mhm.
But it does feel like not an area of need.
No.
But an area of kind of like, let's give this guy a chance to put some tape together and maybe have him surprise us.
Maybe. I'm still here with my hands like, what about the O-line? What about a cornerback? What about I mean, there's so many different things that, we could use a body over there. I don't know. We'll
Yes.
see.
Yes, indeed.
We'll see.
Carolina Panthers going to sign Rashad Penny, veteran free agent, spent last season with Philadelphia as a backup there, but 5 other seasons. He's had some injuries in the last few years, but can get it done, and Canales has seen it firsthand for him. All right, coming up next, you may have missed the wildest world of sports weekend yet. We'll get you caught up here on the Adam Gold Show.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Canes fans, game on.
Let's go, Canes!
Let's go, Canes!
It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Let's go, Hurricanes!
Go, Canes!
Let's go,
Gensel with a second try. Swayman can't see it. They score!
Rebound score, Seth Jarvis.
What a save by Anderson!
Ride with us for every heart-stopping game. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Adam Gold from my man, Coach Pete Deruta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. If you're like me, you got up this morning and, man, you know what? I wish I could just roll back over and go to bed. Oh, are you thinking about retirement? Then you need Coach Pete Deruta, who has a game plan to get you to total financial freedom in retirement, but you got to call him. 888-843-0013, or you can text Adam, that's my name, to 600-700. Same difference. You'll get a total customized retirement plan crafted by Coach Pete Deruta and his staff at Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex that will get you to retirement with everything you need to live the life you want. Capital Financial Advisory Group, Coach Pete Deruta. He's the expert. We'll also throw in one of his best-selling books on retirement planning. He's got a bunch of those. But you got to call. By the way, the total customized retirement plan, $1,000 value. You get it for free. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700 for Coach Pete Deruta.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop. Introducing Bojangles' new Bird Dog, a seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supreme, dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all on a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or a 2 bird dog combo for just $8. Hurry, Bo's Bird Dogs are available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
This is the absolute worst time of the year to be dealing with joint pain. You can't do the outdoor things you love to do. Hiking, jogging, biking, going to the beach. You name it, it can't be done. Don't go through the summer missing out on life. Call QC Kinetics now and find out how they can use biologics from your own body to give new life to your achy joints like your knees, hips, back, and shoulder. QC's regenerative medicine protocols can restore and repair that damaged tissue with no surgery, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime. This is the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients around the country are living their best life this year because they made the call. QC medical professionals are under the direction of Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, who is an orthopedic surgeon who became a true pioneer in regenerative medicine. He knew there had to be a better way. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Revolutionary treatments for joint pain are here. Call 919-400-5473 with locations in Cary, Clayton, Raleigh, and Wake Forest. 919-400-5473.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is Adam Gold.
There are people out there that just, you must draft a quarterback.
Yeah, why you don't want a quarterback?
Yeah, exactly. What is wrong with you? Oh, you don't want apple pie?
Right.
Come on.
A la mode? Oh, maybe I like brownies, okay?
I don't want it there.
The temptation.
Yeah, I don't need it. Because I can convince myself, apple's healthy.
Right.
The Adam Gold Show.
Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold today. Adam will be back tomorrow. He's off golfing.
What a rough Monday.
But he's extending what I have dubbed the Wide World of Sports weekend. This is the weekend, these past few days have been about all the sports that global sports fans will totally lock in on and go, sweet, this is this big deal, but it's another in the series of whatever. Here in the States, some of these are kind of just one-offs, kind of whatever it is. I'm going to start with kind of one of the obvious ones, F1 racing, right? F1's super popular. NASCAR, not NASCAR, but Netflix has the F1 series. They had the Las Vegas race, which was like at midnight or wherever it was. And for the first time, a guy by the name of Max Verstappen did not win the F1. It was a guy by the name of Lando Norris.
Wow.
Lando Norris won the Miami Grand Prix by 7 seconds over Max Verstappen, which is a big deal because it's the first time that Lando's team, McLaren, has won in the States in 12 years. Lando also, by the way, born on November 13th. And as we all know, all good people on the planet were born on November 13th.
Yes. This is facts.
Just fact.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's written somewhere.
I'm just putting that one out there. So F1 racing, right? Big, huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
The Kentucky Derby was run this week in a photo finish.
Yes.
Photo finish.
Which was actually opposite of, we had a guest on last week who talked about the Kentucky Derby, and he was convinced that we should take the prop bet, even though it's not legal to gamble in North Carolina on the Kentucky Derby. I think the length was 1.5, and he was convinced that that was like a shoe-in. So he was... Yeah, it wasn't.
It's why they call it sports betting and
Yes.
sports gambling. Those are two different
Yes.
things. Mystic Dan by a nose. Here's the call from Travis Stone. And they're off. Around the final turn.
Outside. Here comes a run from Stronghold and Resilience has now moved up to take the lead as Fierceness is given way, coming by the 16th pole, and Mystic Dan has now come through on the inside. It is Mystic Dan down toward the inside with the lead in the final 16th. Forever Young, Sierra Leone is coming. These three coming down to the wire. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's a photo of the Derby. Oh, it's a photo. Was it Mystic Dan or was it Sierra Leone? Forever Young was between them, catching freedom, finished fourth. A photo finish to decide the 150th Kentucky Derby.
It was Mystic Dan.
Wow. What a great call. How did he breathe? I feel like his face is probably super red.
He has a great call.
That was
There's
fantastic.
no doubt about it. That Sierra Leone finished second. Forever Young was the show in that one. Now, here's the crazier part. I mean, not just crazy, but interesting part. The owners of Mystic Dan aren't quite sure if they're going to let the horse run in the Preakness Stakes, which is the second part of the Triple Crown, which is in 2 weeks. They're not sure if they want to run him in that because we haven't had a Triple Crown winner since Justify in 2018. I'm throwing some stats and some general knowledge at you. Normally, they try to make a run for it, but it's been a hot second since we've seen a Triple Crown winner in horse racing. So the widest world of sports continues with fighting. There was a lot of fighting over the weekend. Canelo Alvarez had a title defense, went the full distance, knocked down Munguia. One time, in the fourth, I believe, is when the knockdown was. I did not believe this was going to go to the distance, so I did lose my bet.
Did you see that there's controversy about it? So I read up on it that they were saying he could have knocked him out, but there is a little snippet where they say it almost looks like he grabbed him to kind of keep him standing up. And yeah, I looked at it and it kind of does look like that. They're saying it was potentially out of respect because both of them being Mexican fighters, yada, yada.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but I kind of see where people might have thought that.
Yeah, Alvarez hadn't fought a countryman, I believe, it was 5 years, maybe 7 years. I might be getting those two mixed up, but he's going to be on to the next one. I believe he ended up fighting on Mexican Independence Day, not just on Cinco de Mayo, but in September coming up. So Canelo gets the dub. Just across the street, UFC.
Yes!
301. I'm going to lean on you on a little bit on this one because I wasn't quite sure that Jose Aldo was going to pull this one out.
Oh, I think a lot of people were, but he showed everybody why he's the GOAT. I mean, it was fantastic. This guy, I don't know if I've seen him at this level of sharpness. He was great. I was so happy for him. Jose is such a great fighter. He's been doing this for a long, long time. So, yeah, he definitely showed why he's a GOAT. It was fantastic. Now, the main event between Alexander Pantoja and Steve Erceg, that one, Pantoja's, he's keeping his belt, so there's that. He's still a champ, but some people weren't happy with that win.
Is there a rematch coming between these two?
Maybe, potentially. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a rematch, but it's really all up to Dana.
Right. Well, he knows what he's got.
And then Anthony Smith, that one, I've been following him for he's also been doing this for a long time. I did get to see him last year around this time when they were in Charlotte. I love Anthony Smith. He's even fun at the booth. But I feel like he's trying to prove he's not ready to retire in these last couple of fights because he had some bad losses, but he won this last one. So that was great. It was good to see it. So
well, for Ultimate Fighting, Victoria, and you're well versed in mixed martial arts when it comes to this, and we talk about trying to create new stars. I've had this argument about the NBA trying to figure out who the next person is, and I've talked about Anthony Edwards for a little bit here. That seems to be kind of the national narrative with not having very many stars left in the playoffs that aren't MVPs. For the UFC, are they still trying to create new stars and push bigger names forward, or does it seem like, again, you just mentioned Anthony Smith. I mean, Jose Aldo, this was his 40th fight.
Exactly.
So where's that next level, that next gen of fighter coming from?
I kind of feel like they're doing both here recently because you see people like Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean, and they try to push, him, but then you also see Conor McGregor is coming back and fighting, even though maybe he's not still in it. So I almost feel like now the UFC, because for a while they were trying to ramp up new fighters and kind of make names and make drama, especially where it may not be. But now I think they're trying to do both, where they want to bring in the new fighters and keep it fresh, but at the same time they're bringing these nostalgic vets that are still willing to get into the octagon, which I'm all for. Because for me, I'm like, is this 2009? Let's go. So yeah, it does keep it interesting and exciting. Because if it's all new people are like, who is this person?
Well, right, but I look at this, and again, when UFC was in its fledgling roots. Yes. I've been at UFC events when they were in the double digits in the teens. I've got media events. This is Randy Couture.
Oh yeah.
This is
Chuck
Liddell. This is Mirko Krokop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going back, and this isn't even that far back, but it is far back. And now they're at UFC 300. We celebrate some of these. We celebrate some of the athletes and some of the fighters and whatnot. And it seems like at least the men's game is trying to solidify the names and the groups that are coming out. What about the women's side of UFC? Where the superstars that should be there, are they there? And we just aren't aware of them because we aren't paying as close of attention as we were, say, when Rowdy Ronda Rousey was doing her bit.
Well, it's funny.
And Holly Holm was tapping her out.
Yeah. No, which I feel like Holly Holm is. I've been saying this for a while, but I think she's towards her end. So no, the women's side is definitely expanding. They're growing a lot. The weight classes are growing, but you are seeing new names. So there was a couple fights ago, Kayla Harrison, who fought Holly Holm. People were wondering, the last time Holly Holm fought a judo, what happened? That was Ronda Rousey, and Holly Holm caught lightning in a bottle that day. Kayla Harrison is one that I would definitely be looking out for. She is a new and up-and-comer. This was her UFC debut a couple fights ago, so she's going to be hot. There's always something going on. And then you've got Wiley. You've got, we had Carolina fight this last fight too, who she's been in it for a while. I think she might be towards her end. But yeah, there's always Brazilian fighters, and especially speaking of the Mexican boxing that we just had, Mexico has a lot of very interesting and skilled fighters in the UFC right now who have belts too. So it's been fun to see just it evolve into what it is now.
Okay. Okay, see, this is why I pick your brain, Victoria. This is why we pick your brain.
So I can nerd out.
Well, no, but I mean, this is that sports weekend that we had. This is
Yeah.
that wide world of sports weekend where there were a lot of global events, and then you kind of dial in on things like there was a NASCAR race in Kansas, and Kyle Larson took a hat tip to the Kentucky Derby. Kyle Larson won by a 0.1000th of a second in Kansas.
Photo finish.
Yeah, it was the Kentucky Derby, in which he tweeted out a couple of hours after the race, "Kentucky Derby, hold my beer." In which they were going back and forth. I can't remember the driver who was with him, Chase. It wasn't Chase Elliott, but they were rubbing his racing, right? And they were just bashing into each other that final lap. And I didn't think Larson's car was actually in position to grab the checkered flag, and it was like millimeters of the front bumper.
Wow.
That was it.
You sneeze, you're done. You don't see
Yeah.
nothing.
1/1000th of a second, the closest finish in NASCAR history.
Wow.
And I didn't even dig into WWE.
Right?
They had an event in France
Ooh,
on
oui,
Saturday.
oui.
Yeah, on Saturday, they had what they call a premium live event. And those of you who don't consider professional wrestling a sport, you can pound sand. I enjoy professional wrestling.
Right.
You get hurt. It
Yes.
is entertainment.
You do.
There's a rich tradition of professional wrestling. And so WWE had their event in France, of which the crowd was electric and hot. That's the way every professional wrestling crowd should be, whether it's in front of 30 people up in Durham,
Yes.
or if it's 11,000, which is what they had in France. It was crazy.
Love it.
The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, got his win over AJ Styles, who is one of the better technical wrestlers professionally. Jey Uso lost to Damian Priest for the other belt. They did have a change in the women's tag team titles. The Japanese wrestlers known as the Kabuki Warriors, which lost their belts to Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, one of the more popular women's female wrestlers of the WWE, used to be a track and field star at Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
And then her tag team partner, Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is another female wrestler. Both happen to be black wrestlers who are now the tag team champions. Cargill came from a rival promotion, and they've been building her up. So we'll see what happens. I foresee a split
Okay.
between those two at
Yeah.
some point. So one will either get jealous, or one will say you're hogging the spotlight, or whatever it happens to be. But there are new tag team wrestlers in the WWE for the women's side, new champions.
You know, speaking of women's side in WWE, did Ronda Rousey, she's not still doing professional
She left.
wrestling anymore? Okay,
She left.
because I
Her
was going to
contract
say
is up.
she dabbled in it, and I never saw her dabble in it. I saw clips, so I didn't know from like a pro wrestler fan if you got to see it and what you thought of her transitioning into something new.
She has a name.
Yeah?
And with that name comes an aura of badassery. I think
Right.
that's the best way to put it. Like, it comes with her name lends itself to just, I'm going to smoke you wherever I find you. Whether it's in an alley, whether it's in a ring, whether it's an octagon, my name alone carries with it some weight.
She paved the way for women in combat sports.
And that's what she brought to professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Now that she's not in professional wrestling, she's on a book tour, I believe, or doing a few things outside of that. She's taken a few shots at professional wrestling, just in terms of how it's organized and how things went. But otherwise, still remains a fan, I believe, of professional wrestling. But, she had her time.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
She's
So
moving on.
There's the wide world of professional wrestling. I do have a note to pass along here, an interesting note, by the way. For those of you who are North Carolina Tar Heels fans, on the women's side, she hit the portal. Deja Kelly, just prior to the weekend, announced she wasn't coming back to North Carolina. She has found a landing spot. She announced on social media about not too long ago, she's transferring to Oregon. So from North Carolina to Oregon, this is her 5th and final year of eligibility. So good luck to her.
Yeah.
The 8th all-time on the scoring list at UNC. So she is on her way to Oregon, another Nike school. Just putting that one out there so we all learn just a little bit more. This has been, as we talk about all those world sports kinds of things, this has been one of those weekends of communal pop culture moments. And for those, I mentioned it earlier, this is the anniversary of the 27 years since the Carolina Hurricanes announced they were moving from Hartford to be here in Carolina. I did not pick up on this until it hit me this morning, and then I saw a quick segment on it on NBC. Today Monday, May the 6th, 2024, the 20th anniversary of the last show of Friends. The Friends television series wrapped up 20 years ago.
Wow.
There is a generation of people on this planet that do not know what this show was about and only saw it through kind of like Nick at Night for about a decade or so, right? It showed up on Nick at Night and then has kind of disappeared a little bit. They brought it back during the Super Bowl. There was a commercial involving Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer.
Yes, with the memory.
Yes, with the memory, with the whole memory thing, and it was about Uber Eats or Ubering or DoorDash or one of the delivery things.
Yes.
And she comes out and she goes, "Hey, Jen," and he's like, "Hey, you," and she couldn't remember his name, and she leaned in for a hug and kind of pushed away, and he's like, "We were on a show together."
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of hit me. I'm like, that is a true nostalgia play for a lot of global watchers, but a lot of Americans as well who remember Friends. And I go, when have we had those big kind of moments, like feel-good moments too? Like it's really easy to go online and look at news websites and sports websites that are all about, well, what if this person left? Or what happens when the interest rates go higher? Things like that. Those are simple. Those are not communal moments though, right? I'm like, we all did the pandemic together. Yay for us. But I'm talking about like pop culture kind of things. And I remember Friends for when that happened because I was moving. And a lot of people can remember some of these things where they were or whatnot. But I remember where I was when this last show was. And I was in a hotel room in San Antonio, Texas. I'd taken a job in Texas. And it was one of those weird kind of bits. And we ordered pizza. And I remember because they got the order wrong.
Yeah.
They brought the pizza was wrong. It was like onions were on it. And it was just this weird thing. And I'm like, how do you not get, and this is before online ordering and whatever.
Sure,
I'm like,
yeah.
how do you get this wrong? I'm like, onions on a pizza. Who orders? First of all, who orders that?
Not me.
Plain pizza with onions.
Oh, no.
I'm
What
like,
are we doing?
Like you just missed everything. So we picked them off anyway. My wife and I picked them off. And I remember, but that was one of those kind of things where we all come together a little bit. And I think for us last night, we had one of those moments that was trying to be created for us in the Tom Brady roast. And Tom Brady, as a pop culture figure, and it's undeniable, pop culture figure. Like, you could look at him right now. Like, if you turn on YouTube, for example, okay, which is where you can find past episodes of The Adam Gold Show. Just search out Adam Gold Show. You can find him there. And you will see one of the first ads you see, at least in my algorithm, for some reason, and maybe it's just me. Tom Brady's doing ads for Hertz. Like, he's still doing ads for Hertz. And they play on the whole, like, Tom Brady love Hertz, right? Get it?
I see.
Yeah, I know. Little tear rolls down my cheek.
Uh-huh.
When we talk about Tom Brady and the relationships that he's had. And then again, I go, it's Tom Brady. Like,
yes,
he cavorts and sees anything that he wants. He just has to make a phone call, to be honest. Because who wouldn't want to? Like, Tom Brady, pick up the phone. Like, it's Tom Brady. You're going to pick up the phone. Whatever he's asking for, you're like, oh, let me think about it.
Yeah, right.
But it's those kinds of moments, like last night with this roast of Tom Brady, and the moment that I think a lot of people tried to have. And the reason why it was successful, and the reason why we're still talking about it today, is because with Brady and with others, and you can name, I think, other top athletes, other figures in the sports world where you could lean behind. Now, for example, John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, again, professional wrestling, Paul, turns a channel, whatever, blah, 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 professional wrestling.
A lot, too.
He's everywhere,
yeah,
right? You would go, if they announced tomorrow, we're going to roast John Cena, you would be all over that.
Oh, yeah.
And even more locally, say here in Carolina. Say if I picked out, I'm going to pick out 3 names for you here, and say if you would go attend, you'd buy a ticket. See, Victoria, if you would buy a ticket. And those of you out there with your ears kind of wide open and perked up a little bit, you're thinking to yourselves, okay, where's he going with this? Because he's thinking about communal moments for everybody to be a part of. Say we put together a roast of Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Would you buy a ticket, say the Spectrum Center, to go see Cam Newton get roasted by former teammates and comedians?
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun. As long as they're like former teammates and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay, not just randos, right?
Right.
Because that's part of the issue with some of these comedy roasts. And for those of you who remember the Dean Martin roast from way back in the day. I don't, but my grandparents did, and they used to talk to me about it because they thought they were amusing. They would get this big, a couple of big banquet tables stretched out on a stage, and there'd be 2 levels of tables, and there'd be like 10 or 12 people, and it would just be all the celebrities of the day roasting whoever it happened to be that Dean Martin could drag out of whatever television show it was. And they were celebrity roasters, no doubt about it. He had big stars for the day. Comedy Central has tried to replicate that here at this day and age. And they did so well that they almost became kind of background noise because they were inviting people that not a lot of people were truly familiar with. They did Seth MacFarlane, the guy who created Family Guy. And you might know the name, and you might understand the TV show, but then you're like, okay, who is Seth MacFarlane, the person?
Mm-hmm.
He's not everywhere. He's not on Wheaties boxes. He's not on television all the time. You hear his voice, but you rarely see the guy. David Hasselhoff. When there was a roast of David Hasselhoff, it was kind of like, okay, it's kind of funny.
Sure.
It's kind of fun, but like his best days were behind him. Like more people remember him from his cameo in Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then they do like, oh yeah, he was in Baywatch, or he was the dude with the talking car.
Exactly.
He was that guy. And you're going to have to, like, there are kids in the car right now, teenagers are like,
what?
First of all, what is a David Hasselhoff? And then why was he in a show with a talking car?
Yeah. Why is he not wearing any clothes, just a bathing suit all the time?
Right. He was part of this television series about lifeguards called Baywatch, set in California, of which we were given more other stars. Again, generationally speaking, right? But Tom Brady, like, goes across all generations. He comes across all platforms and all things, so much that people lined up to be with him, and they all took their easy shots. Kevin Hart was the MC of the Tom Brady roast last night, and Kevin Hart went right in on Tom Brady when it came to his failed relationships and his choices in life when it came to sports.
By the way, single life is what you deserve because you had no choice. Giselle gave you an ultimatum. Giselle said, you retire or we're done. That's what she said to you, Tom. You retire or we're done. And let me tell you something. When you got a chance to go 8 and 9 and all it will cost you is your wife and your kids, you got to do what you got to do. Do you understand me?
I love him. He's
like,
so funny.
But the great part about comedy, and there might be some fledgling comedians out there or stand-ups out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the great part about comedy is that there's a percentage of it that is rooted in truth.
Always.
That
yes.
if you look at it, some of the funniest situations in your life personally, and some of the things that others have experienced, and the fact that you can joke about it, and it's almost not the joke that you're in on it as well because it was you, that's what makes it even more just kind of residual, where it has that respect of the joke and being part of that joke and being in on the joke too, which is so much what I think a lot of us want in life too. We all want to be a part of that joke. Like you stand around with friends and you're having a conversation and you happen to enter at the end. And what do you always say, right?
What a miss.
What did I miss?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be a part of that moment. You want to be a part of it. And that's why they had several thousand people show up in Los Angeles to be part of this moment for this guy who's been part of our sports world and part of the pop culture world for decades. And it brought all walks of life together, all these people together. And the cool part about it is that it was his teammates that also helped out in the roasting part, and it wasn't always about all the comedians. They took a handful of shots at each other, but it really brought a new kind of element to this, to where it could, I'm not saying rejuvenate, because roasts will never go away. Like, roasts are great ways, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you running nonprofits and whatnot, to help out your nonprofits. If you find someone within your organization that's truly respected in the community, you could make a little bit of coin for your nonprofit, for your
Coach
charity.
K would be a great roast.
Coach K.
Oh my goodness.
Would be an amazing roast.
That
What
would
a
be
great idea.
So good. We need to get on that.
What a great idea. Coach K, if you're listening out there, would you be willing to do that? And we would donate all the money to your favorite charity. We will we will find the room and we will line them up.
Mm-hmm.
Former players.
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. We could even get Roy Williams, maybe. How great would that be if Roy came to the roast?
There you go. Roy, John Shire, get your notes ready. Coach K, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. We want you. We want you. Let's roast you.
That'd be great.
That would be great. And I would just sit there and watch back, and you can take all the shots of me you want. You'd be like, who is this guy?
Just have my popcorn. I just, Love it.
Good idea. Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today. Adam will be back tomorrow, but coming up next, we stretch it out a bit with producer Victoria.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Stop in today for a demo or visit us online at actce.com. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
When you want to start something new, you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're a first-time student or returning to college, CFNC is right there with you. From deadlines to financial planning to completing your FAFSA, CFNC helps students of all ages in North Carolina stay on track and navigate the college process. Create an account today at cfnc.org and start your something new.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Charlotte this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 25 different sports. The Body Armor State Games features 13,000 athletes and 700 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Harris Teeter, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we like calling North Carolina home because being local matters. It's why in every county, we have agents whose hometown is your town. That means we're there when you need us most, with personal service you'd expect from a friend or neighbor. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
Investing in primary care makes sense. Without additional investment in family medicine and primary care, the foundation of our healthcare system is at risk, leading to higher costs and lower quality care. By improving access to primary care, costs are lower, quality is higher, and death rates from cancer, heart disease, and strokes go down. It's time for North Carolina to invest in primary care. To learn more, go to primarycarenc.org. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina Academy of Family Physicians.
You don't need a 4-year degree to have a rewarding career that makes a difference in people's lives every day. As a public power line worker, you'll build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system to keep the lights on in your community. 4 months in a community college program provides the training you need to begin your career as an apprentice line worker in public power. And being a local government employee in North Carolina comes with excellent benefits. To learn more about line worker and other public power careers, visit electricities.com.
For more than 35 years, the North Carolina Rural Center has been working to secure a more vibrant future for our state's rural people and places. The latest research breaks down the major forces driving change, such as restricted access to quality health care and insufficient health insurance coverage. Our rural communities face challenges often, contributing to poor health outcomes. The Rural Center continues to advocate for progress on these and other important rural issues. Learn more at ncruralcenter.org. NC Rural Center, building vibrant rural communities.
My mother was very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she wasn't even really sure where she was at.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association.
This is Adam Gold.
There are people out there that just, you must draft a quarterback.
Yeah, why you don't want a quarterback?
Exactly. What is wrong with you? Oh, you don't want apple pie?
Right.
Come on.
A la mode? Oh, maybe I like brownies, okay?
I don't want it there.
The temptation.
Yeah, I don't need it. Because I can convince myself, apple's healthy.
Right.
The Adam Gold Show.
Lean into it on this Monday afternoon. Paul Lyhander in for Adam Gold. It is the Adam Gold Show. Adam returns tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Truly appreciate it. Hopefully we provided a little bit of a break from your norm, so to speak. Victoria is here, and so we need to stretch it out.
It's funny you should say stretch because that is going to be part of the 7th inning stretch. But first...
Are we yoga-ing?
Potentially.
Okay,
maybe
I can do that.
Should. But I read an article where we're doing life well, Paul, because science says watching sports is good for your mental health.
Good for the mentals.
Unless you're a Panther fan. No, I just threw that part in there myself. But there was a study in Japan that found that people who watch sports, it will boost your mental health and generally make you happier as human beings. So what they did was they scanned people's brains while they were watching various sports and found it activated the, quote, reward circuits of the brain, which is linked to feeling happiness.
I like that.
I know, right? They also found that people who regularly watch sports have more gray matter in those areas, which suggests it might change your brain structure over time, which is a good thing because apparently that's all good stuff. So, for those seeking to enhance your overall well-being, watch more sports.
I thought you were going to say it creates more gray hair because that's what I've had. For those of you watching, I've been wearing, if those of you watching us on the YouTube and running it back a little bit, I have plenty to go around. That's why I'm wearing the hat partially.
Also, if you're a Panthers fan, then yeah.
If you're a Panthers fan, be very specific.
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers
yes.
fan.
Yeah, Florida Panthers, they're crushing it and they're about to sweep the Bruins, but that's just my opinion. So, yes, watch more sports and then you can hang out with us and we can talk about it together. So, you'll be happier as people.
For the matters of grayness.
Exactly. So, also along those lines, because I read this article and I feel like maybe some of us Caniacs need to do this to help with stress. So there's forms of movement that will help alleviate some of the stress. And they say there's 3 in particular. Number 1, everyday movement, which is walking, stretching, yoga.
That seems common sense.
All that stuff. So every day, that's the goal. Let's keep that going. Athletic movement, now we're getting into cardio, boo, or weight training. Like that, just a few times a week will help you. So just throw that in, dabble that in. And then social movement. I like how they threw out some examples.
Social movement?
Yes, and this involves other people like golf, dancing.
Golf.
Not that social movement,
golf.
Paul.
Golf. Of course.
They threw well, Adam's doing that right now, so he's checking that box. Or pickleball. We could play pickleball with Rod Brindamore and Justin Williams. And apparently Tom Dundon.
So that's what they call social movement.
That's what they call
with others.
Social movement.
Okay.
That's what they call
We'll
it.
chalk that one up
For
to
your mental health.
my head in a completely different place from what you were trying to explain.
Mental Health Monday. So there you go. Those are some things that'll help you. And then also, I thought this was great because you were talking about reunions, or I should say anniversaries of Friends. How Friends was coming around. Well, there's another anniversary from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary.
Wow.
And I know, right? It originally premiered with Regis Philbin, R.I.P., who it was August 16th, 1999. So it is coming back for a new season. Jimmy Kimmel's going to host it, and apparently it's going to have celebrities that are paired, and they're going to try to win money for their charities. So that's going to be July 10th. So
I have a charity they could donate to.
It's
called My Pocket.
Exactly. My bank account. That would be fantastic. Please and thank you. That would be great. But yeah, so that's coming back. If you're interested and you maybe you were like a Friends fan and you want it to come back, don't know if that's going to happen, but Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is. And then, last but not least, this is a PSA because I feel like Mondays are good for this, just in case the list of things to do is long. And supposedly us Americans just completely overlook our check engine lights in our car.
Mine's on right now. That's funny you say that. Mine just came on yesterday.
Oh, no. That's okay. Well, you could be in this category because they're saying the average American admits to ignoring their check engine light for about 4 months.
Wait, what?
Never, not me.
Wait,
no, no. So yeah, yeah. So don't do that because it could. They're saying it's a bad idea. It could cause worse problems, cost you more money, do all that stuff. I like to say that it is personality for my vehicle. My first car had a lot of personality. So
Personality.
a lot of noises and things and lights and stuff. But you know what else has personality? Making fun bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
These are for entertainment purposes only. We are not advocating you make these bets, but these are the ones that we will be placing ourselves.
Yes.
I have 3 today, Victoria,
Yes.
of bets that I would like to place. How about you?
Same.
All right,
Same.
excellent. Do we flip a coin, or is it because I'm the visitor I go first?
You absolutely are welcome to go first.
Okay, here we go. So this is a guy we'll be talking a little bit about coming up in the next hour at about 2:15. Anthony Edwards, who has been on a tear lately. Scored 43 points in Game 1, talking NBA here, against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this number is monster low. If you can get this number a little higher and at a little bit different of an odds, you might be able to do something with it. But right now what's available to me is Edwards over 28.5 points. That feels really low for Anthony Edwards, and that's at minus 120. I'm taking that all day long.
Well, I'm kicking things off with the ice. I will get to my baseball bet. I've got one baseball bet.
Okay.
But starting things, we've got the Bruins taking on the Florida Panthers, and I think Carter Verhaeghe is going to be an anytime goal scorer because he's great at doing that. He's plus 175.
Plus 175.
I know, for Carter Verhaeghe.
Okay, I kept my bet on the NHL very simple when it comes to Boston, Florida, because it is Game 1 of that series. Both teams sitting around a bit, at least for the Florida's sake. But Boston's turned in a couple of very solid goalie performances. That this one, the number, again, for the NHL, usually it's 6 or it's 5.5. The number is under 5.5. It's minus 125, so I'll take that one.
Oh, nice. Well, my second one, sticking with the game, I feel like the Florida Panthers are going to come out hot. And I think there might be a goal in the first 10 minutes. So I'm going to say yes, goal in the first 10 of the first period. That's minus 128. But if you do make real units, maybe throw it in a parlay.
Right. Okay.
Who knows?
Well, yeah, you could take all these and drop them in the
Sure.
parlay real quick.
Yeah.
All right, my third bet does go back to the NBA. Goes back to that game I just referenced with Anthony Edwards, Minnesota and Denver in the Western Conference. Jamal Murray had a very rough night in terms of Game 1. It was 1 of 7 from 3. 3-point shots, over 2.5 for Jamal Murray. I expect a full rebound from him here in the second game. Denver will be pressing just a little bit more, and they are at home.
Ooh.
So always home cooking with home rims. You always know the touch. You always know the bounces. That is Murray over 2.5 threes. That is plus money, plus 125.
Oh, wow, at home, too. Well, and speaking of at home, my Chicago Cubs are at home now, and they just won against the Brewers a couple games.
Chicago Cubs
Oh,
bets.
man,
Count on
Cubbies.
Victoria to bring us Chicago Cubs action.
I know. Wait till I'm there this summer. So I'll be bringing Cubby action from Wrigley. But no, they're actually taking on the San Diego Padres. Hopefully they're coming off of these wins feeling good. They're at home. They're in Wrigley. Feel like they're going to, be in their zone. So maybe the first inning they will be up. So give me the Cubs to win the first inning. Don't tie. Plus 360.
No push on that one, ladies and gentlemen. Plus 360. Wow.
I know.
Okay.
At home.
There's something to roll there.
They think it's going to tie. The Vegas thinks that they're going to tie.
Right.
That's what the problem is.
Even money. There you have it.
Mhm.
All right. There's your bets. A little bit. Hey, before we send you off here, just here in the last few minutes, there is a new sponsor for the Arizona Bowl. It was sponsored by Barstool Sports last year. Barstool dropped its sponsorship. They try to figure out their financials. The new bowl game will now be known as the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop.
No way.
Yes. December 28th in Tucson, Arizona. Quote, the intent is to bring the juice back to college football.
Wow.
Snoop Dogg.
There we are.
First partnership of a bowl game with an alcohol product as the presenting sponsor of an NCAA-sanctioned bowl game. The new beverage company is called Gin and Juice.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
This is Jenny Kanzora with the Jenny Homes team at Compass. If you are looking to buy a home, we have access to exclusive listings and technology that can help you find that next home faster. Visit jennyhomes.com to make your move. That's JENNE homes.com.
Electricity flows through everything. Our movement, our passion, our drive. Ford connected the performance of a sports car with the thrill of an EV to create a pony tuned for exhilaration, engineered to give you an extra jolt of adrenaline. Feel something electric. The 2024 Mustang Mach-E SUV. Test drive one today at your Carolina Ford dealer. Available at Ford EV certified dealers only.
It's time to shop sparkling deals. It's Bailey's Fine Jewelry's multi-million-dollar inventory reduction sale. Going on now. Shop jewelry up to 60% off. Diamonds, watches, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings are all on sale. The perfect time to shop for Mother's Day, anniversary, or engagement rings without breaking the bank. Shop the largest selection of luxury jewelry for less at Bailey's Big Sale. Learn more at BaileyBox.com.
Spectrum One is a big deal. You get Spectrum Internet with the most reliable internet speeds, free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced security and privacy, and a free Spectrum Mobile Unlimited line with nationwide 5G included, all while saving big. For the big speed, big reliability, and big savings you want, get Spectrum One. Just $49.99 a month for 12 months. Visit spectrum.com/big deal for full details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Attention soccer fans. North Carolina FC invites you to be part of the excitement. Join us in our electrifying games with top-tier players, thrilling goals, and unforgettable moments. Experience the thrill of this beautiful game with North Carolina FC. Get your tickets now, northcarolinafc.com.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Date the rate, marry the house. A phrase often used by realtors to describe the difference between keeping your new forever home as opposed to your mortgage rate, which you'll only keep until something better comes along, kind of like speed dating. A recent study by the Wall Street Journal further supports this notion by finding the average life of a loan to be less than 4 years. Their suggestion? Find a no-fee loan, which is exactly what Miller Lending has been telling you since 1996. With no closing costs of any kind, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance each time something better comes along. So while builders promote buy-downs with over $10,000 in closing costs, or lenders advertise crazy low rates with even more, Miller Lending continues to be the leader in the no-cost mortgage. So before you throw away thousands of needless fees, pick up the phone and call your local neighborhood lender, Miller Lending in Cary, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
One day you're serving in the military, and then the next day you come home and you're dealing with an injury.
Britton is in recovery from an addiction to prescription opioids.
My opioid misuse and need got so strong. Addiction is hard. You're not going to fix it on your own. You have to reach out for help. The recovery side of it is amazing. You get to a place where you're proud of yourself again.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is hope. Recovery is possible. Visit cdc.gov/RxAwareness.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
Poked away, and he was able to keep a hang of it, but unable to finish the layup was Norman Powell. Down floor, Luka. High loft, going way up to get it and slamming it down. Here's Kyrie putting Tucker on skates. Three, knocked down, hit it! The shot of Game 6! Kyrie Irving dominating the second half. And the Mavericks are 5.5 minutes away from round 2.
Off and running, it is the postseason. April and certainly the month of May, some of the most exciting times for sports. If you are a basketball or a hockey fan, or certainly the NFL just around the corner, we are supposed to get Paul Eihander, that's me, in for Adam Gold today, the Adam Gold Show on this Monday. Victoria is here as well. Say hi, Victoria.
Hi.
We are supposed to get a look at the NFL schedule here in the next 72 hours, apparently.
Oh.
But we're waiting on that. But I just mentioned that because May is just chock full of stuff. Like, we spent some time talking about the Kentucky Derby earlier on. We talked about UFC 301, F1 race, NASCAR race. We had the Canelo fight. We have the NHL playoffs as well. Unfortunately, that's where we have to start with the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
So the Carolina Hurricanes, as we try to rub off the loss, so to speak, rub it off in Game 1, 4-3 against the New York Rangers, in which head coach Rod Brind'Amour thought they played pretty well. Plenty of effort, right? Effort leads to opportunity. Unfortunately for the Carolina Hurricanes, those opportunities ended up fairly empty. The team understood this top to bottom, but you have to move on at some point. The way to move on is to have a little practice. They are practicing as we speak today, and they will be practicing, I'm sure, for those of you who are listening to us on delay through the podcast as well, or perhaps wherever you happen to be listening to us, they will still be practicing because they want that bad taste out of their mouth. Defenseman Tony DeAngelo drew in last night with Brett Pesce still out. He understands that they're playing a good team, but also understands he's on a good team.
Yeah, I thought we played good. Even in the first, I thought we played all right. I mean, the shots were 4-4 at one point. It was 2-0. But like I said, you guys are going to hear the same thing from all. It's a 7-game series, so we got to get to our game a little early. We spotted them one. They great play by their guys, but we still spot. Give them one quick there, and then it's they get the crowd into it. We respond, then the penalty call, and boom, boom. It's kind of just the way it goes in the playoffs. But they got a good team, but we know what we got in here, and we got 6 more games.
That's a good way to put it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you came out of the game on Sunday night huffing and puffing, you were at the bar and you didn't leave a big as of a tip as you normally give, which shame on you. But sometimes that happens, right? You're just frustrated and you just want to get mad at something or somebody, and hopefully the only thing you did was hurt your own self in terms of your pride and how you acted. It was just Game 1. It was just a Game 1.
Yeah, and they were trying to come back. The fact that it wasn't a complete blowout is helpful.
It was a disappointing Game 1, though, for obvious reasons. When you talk about two teams that Vegas couldn't even decide on who the favorite would be, and it came down to really about 40 seconds of empty net goal time and trying to throw some pucks on net, in which your team, your Carolina Hurricanes, if that happens to be your team, which hopefully is. If not, that's okay, too. You can root for who you want to root for. But for all intents and purposes, this show is a Carolina Hurricane show. Will be slightly biased in that direction, even with me in this chair. Now, Adam Gold, I mean, I can't speak for Adam. But for me, if you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan, it's okay. It's okay to stomp around. It's okay to throw things. It's okay to be mad. Not that you need my permission, but it's okay because things will be all right tomorrow. There are still 6 more games. Now, if you're hanging out the window like I am and pick the Canes in 6, I could certainly use a turnaround come tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
7 o'clock is the game time. The NHL granted us that little tidbit of news. And the Thursday game, that is in Raleigh, when Carolina hosts its 2 games as a part of this series, Game 3 on Thursday night is also going to be at 7 o'clock. So make your plans accordingly. There is a thought out there, as I talked about the NBA postseason. There are a couple of games coming up. The Indiana Pacers take on the Knicks tonight. If you've been listening to the national media or trolling national media or surfing national media, that seems to be the only basketball game on. The Knicks and the Pacers. Rightfully so. In New York, they're calling it the Summer of 94. The Summer of 94 in New York is where the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers were playing some pretty good darn sports, where the Rangers hoisted the cup that year against the Vancouver Canucks. And the New York Knicks were playing some pretty inspired basketball as well. Didn't quite get all the way to the end, but again, 30 years ago, they're feeling that same kind of bit right now. The prices are as high as ever. It costs $250 to get into the Rangers game on Sunday. $250. That's the get-in price. That's not even sitting anywhere close to the action.
Right, that's nosebleeds.
That's getting the building.
Ooh.
That's press row way up there. Like, they still haven't cleaned the circus out part of Madison Square Garden.
Yes. Like,
That's
wear
where you're at.
layers because it's hot, because all the heat rises, so you're going to have to...
Correct. With 2 NBA games on, the off-season stories have kind of pittered out just a little bit, with the exception of the speculation about LeBron James, who, friend of the program, Evan Cohen of ESPN and host of Unsportsmanlike from 6 o'clock in the morning until whenever that show ends, 9 or 10, he suggests LeBron is uncoachable at times.
As LeBron James potentially enters into free agency, the Los Angeles Lakers never make this move without knowing by firing Darvin Ham, they have a better chance of getting LeBron back. When he wants no blood on his hands, the blood is all over his hands. He's the second greatest player of all time. Off the court, the guy is maybe the greatest of all time in terms of what he has done for people and everything. But he's uncoachable at times.
Without another 30,000 layers of that 30,007-layer dip that Evan just kind of stuck his chip into, I'm not sure LeBron is uncoachable.
Yeah.
I think LeBron has plenty been coached.
Yeah, it's kind of a broad statement.
At this point in his career, he is very coachable. Does he have a say because of his veteran status? Abso-freaking-lutely does he have a say. He can draw up plays in the huddle, but that's not unusual in the NBA. How quickly we forget Greg Popovich literally would step out of the timeout circle and tell his players, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan, you go figure it out. You guys are good enough to do that. You chase guys out of the huddle. LeBron James can command a huddle. He's not uncoachable. Does he have a strong opinion? Absolutely. But if you go out and tell LeBron James, this is the big difference, right? But uncoachable and coachable. If I call a timeout and run a set play to Anthony Davis or LeBron James, he will probably speak up in that lineup and go, yeah, we should run that. Or yeah, maybe there's something else. But ultimately, the play that gets called out there gets run. Have you ever heard of an instance where LeBron James at the end of a game where players on his team, and you know they would roll him under the bus if they could, or former players said, you know what, in this one instance, LeBron took it upon himself to win the game and did not run what the coach wanted to run. I'm looking for examples, folks. Go find the rocks and turn them all over. Absolute no. Stop. Not even at times is he uncoachable.
Yeah.
The guy is coachable. He's still a professional. Does he have a louder voice than others? Yes, he does. But he is not uncoachable, and not certainly uncoachable at times. As I mentioned, there are other NBA games. And we have other sound from those NBA games, including the Cleveland Cavaliers, who dispatched the Orlando Magic magically. Donovan Mitchell, who is a guy that I always like to take the overs on, especially in the last few games. He was excited about beating Orlando, and he's ready to face Jalen's Boston Celtics.
Yes, but, I feel like, this was great because we were able to learn a lot of things about ourselves. I'm never going to shy away from that, but, we can be better. And I hate to be that guy, but, this was great. This was phenomenal as a great win, great series, great test for us mentally, physically, but, we can and we will have to be better to beat Boston. No disrespect to Orlando because they are a phenomenal team. They got a lot of great guys, but, I feel like this was just big for us as a group, but we don't really have time to celebrate, to be honest with you. So, but yes, to answer your question, yes, but we would be better.
For Cleveland, as Donovan Mitchell goes and Darius Garland goes, and that's the backcourt. And Donovan Mitchell, looking at the rest of his teammates, is like the smallest dude on the court. He's like 6'1" in a slight frame. But he got out of Utah, went to Cleveland, and he's putting up 40 and 50 pieces.
It's a lot.
Like, he's crushing it.
I can see why you would take the over.
Yeah, undeniable.
Yeah.
The guy can shoot. He can flat out shoot and creates his own shot. But he is right about the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are the juggernaut of juggernauts when it comes to the NBA playoffs. Like, that is where all the roads run through. If we are lucky enough, sports fans, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, if it is Boston and New York in the Eastern Conference Finals, we are in for a revival of a treat. Undeniable. But don't discount Cleveland. And certainly don't look past the other teams that are still involved in the NBA playoffs, including those Indiana Pacers, who are a scrappy team, and the Knicks certainly had their hands full with Philadelphia. These are not sweepable series by any means necessary. That's a lot of wall of sounding.
Like it.
That truly, truly is. That truly, truly is. We helped you move the Canes into Game 2. We gave you a little bit of NBA knowledge, and I'm about to drop a little bit more NBA knowledge on you as well, as the brightest NBA superstar that you're going to get behind, and I'm trying to get excited about it too, goes by a superhero name. Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold today.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
You're always close to the Canes with 99.9 The Fan.
Here comes Kuznetsov with the touch and the slowdown. Kuznetsov waiting. Varlamov comes out waiting, dusting it off. Waiting, shoots, it scores!
Count on us to bring you every Canes game night and the latest Canes news from insider Adam Gold, your official home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
What a weekend of sports variety we just had for bet making. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and I know we couldn't bet on things like the Kentucky Derby here, but we still had NBA, NHL, NASCAR, UFC, soccer, and that's not even everything. So there is literally something for everyone to make an event that much spicier, and right now is the best time to play because BetMGM is offering new North Carolina accounts $150 in bonus bets just by making your first $5 wager and using code Victoria150. Whether you win or lose that first bet, you're still going to get $150 in bonus bets. And when using the BetMGM app, it comes with things like same-game parlays, live bets, prop bets, and fun daily promotions. So for $5, you'll get $150 to experiment with in bonus bets by using code Victoria150. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop. Introducing Bojangles' new Bird Dog, a seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supreme, dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all on a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or a 2 bird dog combo for just $8. Hurry, Bo's Bird Dogs are available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing, made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories, all without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver, all the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew, 30 seconds, that's it. Done. Peace.
And the best artist with the best new scratch-offs, Mr. First Tuesday!
Wow. I'm so proud my music is bringing luck and joy to so many people. First, I'd like to thank those who invented the calendar, and to all the First Tuesdays many years ago, and to all scratchers out there. No matter if you use your nail or a coin, we all share the same First Tuesday love. First Tuesday kisses to you all.
New scratch-offs every first Tuesday of the month.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Hey, it's Meredith in Thesis Jewelers and Garner. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and who else better to shop with than a mother-daughter team? My mom and I have handpicked every item in the store. Some of our favorites is the popular Diamond Flex Spangles, Diamond Hoops, and our Thesis upgradable Diamond Stud program. But all moms really love the Diamond Tennis necklaces. We have them in all sizes and colors. I can assure you we have an unbelievable selection that any mom will love. It's already been mom approved. So shop in Thesis Jewelers this Mother's Day to find that perfect gift she would cherish for a lifetime.
This is Adam Gold.
I got news for you. If I see a hammerhead shark swimming near me in open water,
We're gone.
Bye.
We're done. I'll be on the dock.
I'm done. I've seen Jaws. You can't fool me.
Yeah, I'll be on the dock.
Yeah.
I'll be, or in the boat or something. I will not be.
Yeah.
I will not be in open
thank
water.
you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's Monday. Paul Lyhander in for Adam Gold today. Thanks for hanging out with us today, making us a part of your process, because you got to trust the process, right? Trust the process.
Always.
Paul Lyhander in for Adam Gold. Adam returns tomorrow. He's out doing a little golfing today. I'm sure he'll have plenty of stories about draining some long snakes and hitting balls out of bounds and whatever.
It's all right. At least it's not raining. At least it doesn't look like it is right
That's
now.
true. It might rain later this week, unfortunately. For those of you who plan to attend the Carolina Hurricanes game, the tailgating could be a little soggy. So bring appropriate cover. The other voice you heard is Victoria, here as always. I promised to talk about the NBA, and it's fun to chop it up about the NBA when you have a reason to chop it up about the NBA. And it's been a little tough, I think, for a lot of fans, and I speak for a few people, not everybody, but because of how this playoffs worked out. If you roll it back about a month or so ago, when the play-in games first started, you had the Golden State Warriors trying to find their way into the playoffs. They were one of the lower seeds, and they had been inevitable. And the chapter on that Golden State Warriors team closed down. The Golden State Warriors team that, remember, shooting threes from distance, winning championships. And again, there's no crying over this one. They had a great run with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green at all others. Kevin Durant was part of that too. Not this season, obviously. He was with the Suns. But so Golden State got ousted. And then we saw a first-round matchup of the New Orleans Pelicans in which they did not have Zion Williamson, was hurt for the majority of that series, and we didn't get to see him. The Milwaukee Bucks, a team that was looking to run it back and win another championship, made a deal in the offseason for Damian Lillard, ends up trying to get the most they can out of Lillard. Certainly Chris Middleton tried his best, but they had no Giannis. And when you pull the best player in the NBA out of a game and out of a series, you're going to have a tough time going for things. So the Suns are out. The Lakers fall out the wayside with LeBron and Anthony Davis. We lose the Clippers. And now we're kind of like, the NBA didn't create enough stars for us to watch. They didn't create enough action for us to be involved and to dive ourselves into. But maybe that's just because they were waiting for this round of the postseason. We have now a couple very bright NBA superstars. And before we talk about that, one star that I wanted to get into, because he does go by a superhero name, Ant-Man. There is another game tonight that we didn't talk about very much, and that's the Pacers and the Knicks. And this isn't your father's Pacers Knicks. This isn't even your Pacers Knicks. This is a new generation of Pacers and Knicks, to where there is no Reggie Miller. There is no Patrick Ewing. This is about Tyrese Halliburton. You're like, Tyrese who? Halliburton? Sounds like a clothing designer. Well, Tyrese Halliburton's the top scorer on the NBA's highest scoring team, the Indiana Pacers. And then you look on the other guy, and you're like, Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, what? Not a rugged guy, but a guy who's going to drop 50 on you if you're not careful. This is a matchup between the Pacers and the Knicks, which is where you are looking at teams that had a storied history back in the 90s. And again, I said in the last segment before we got here that in New York, they're saying it feels like 1994, where the Knicks were making this magical run where Reggie Miller, John Starks, in a very intense matchup, Patrick Ewing et al., were going up against a Reggie Miller, Rick Smits-led team that I just threw back on you right there. Mark Jackson was on that basketball team back in the 90s. They did it again in the late 90s, and now it's taken them a while to run it back again. 2013, the last time these two teams met, and the Knicks were the second seed. And now we are here in 2024 with two teams with very lofty goals and a high-powered Pacers team and a home court advantage Knicks team, and where they're going to duel it out and go at each other. And this is a new age, new feel, new era kind of matchup, which I'm excited about. Like, I'm excited about that. And maybe it's just because of the offense. Maybe it's just offense for me.
Maybe. That's okay.
Because, yeah, I like ball control to a certain point, but Tyrese Halliburton's a double-double guy, 20 points, 10 boards. And a guy by the name of Obi Toppin. You're like, who is Obi Toppin? Mid-major school, Dayton, power forward, slightly undersized at 6'9". But he scores, and he rebounds, and he plays defense, and he stays healthy. And that's the important thing about him. Pacers and Knicks tonight. I'm getting excited, right?
Yeah.
Getting a little more excited. Now, what I'm excited, really jazzed about, Victoria, is the Minnesota-Denver series. That Denver has home court advantage, but only home court advantage because they won one more basketball game than Minnesota did in the regular season.
It's close.
57 wins for Denver, 56 wins for Minnesota. Minnesota, a team that is the upstart team, supposed to be the upstart team because they hadn't been here a long time. And then we heard during the season, remember, Alex Rodriguez, the former Yankee, was going to buy the team. And then the sale fell through to Glenn Taylor. And now all of a sudden they're playing good basketball. And now Stephen A. Smith is trying to tell everybody that Ant Edwards is now the newest New York Knick.
Right.
Like, if you're a star in the NBA, if Stephen A. Smith does not say your name, you are not a star.
Exactly.
Because you are not headed to New York.
Yep. Nope. Mm-mm.
You are not headed to New York. But Anthony Edwards has been on a complete tear lately. 43 in game one, leading his team to a win, playing very balanced basketball. The argument about Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, at 6 feet 4 inches tall, out of Georgia, two-time All-Star, 4th year in this league. Is he the next Michael Jordan? I said it out loud. I said it when we started this show, too. I didn't want to make comparisons between him and Jordan, and I'm not going to. I'll just say the name, because Anthony Edwards needs to be his own Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
But he sure can take over games. He can shoot. He's got a quick first step. At the end of game one, late Saturday night, the Denver Nuggets had cut that game to 6. And there was still a 2-possession basketball game. And everyone's screaming, 2-possession basketball game. Timberwolves, Minnesota, inbounds it to Edwards on the left baseline. And he bounces that ball maybe 10 times up the left baseline. Denver had no clue what to do. He went right between Jokic and Murray and laid it up. And everyone went, what just happened?
Yeah.
Even the Nuggets are like, yeah, we're just going to run this one out.
Yeah.
Like,
nothing else to do. What are we going to do?
That was it. He took advantage of a moment, and he keeps taking advantage of moments after moment. And he's got plenty of support. The Timberwolves are a very mature basketball team. And a lot of people talk about Karl Anthony Towns, but there's a great story about Mike Conley, the point guard. And Mike Conley is a well-traveled point guard. Started his career at Ohio State in college, played a ton of years for the Memphis Grizzlies, got traded to the Utah Jazz, was making a little bit too much money, and ends up in a rebuild with Rudy Gobert going to Minnesota. Mike Conley has seen it all, been it all, but Mike Conley is also under the understanding, because of how long he has been in this league, that championship moments do not come very often. And he had a locker room speech prior to the playoffs, going, guys, think about the most unselfish person you know, Victoria, and everyone out there listening. Think about the most unselfish person you know. All they do is give. There's that person at the church, right? All they do is give. I need a little extra help at the potluck. Oh, yeah, that's me. I need a little extra help out here loading the stuff in. Like, oh, yeah, that's me. Mike Conley, one of the more unselfish players in the NBA, tells the Minnesota Timberwolves, I want you guys to win this for me.
Yeah.
And everyone looks at him and goes,
huh?
Okay, coming from you?
Yeah.
And telling us that these opportunities don't come very often? That you want us to do this for you?
Speaks volumes.
Absolutely. And Minnesota goes out and wins game one. Now, Denver Nuggets. Having lived in Denver for quite some time, watching the Carmelo Anthony days in Denver, Kenyon Martin, when he was in Denver, this is throwing back about a decade and a half. The Nuggets are hungry for another championship. And they got one with Jokic last year. They want another one this year. And this is a team that is built to build. This is a team that is built to win a world championship, with Jokic in the middle, Mr. Triple-Double, with Michael Porter Jr., and certainly with Jamal Murray. All the tools are there for Denver to make a run. It is thought. And again, I'm trying to get you excited because I'm excited too, because I understand where these teams have been and the moments that have led them to this particular moment, that I want to see a 7-game series in this one specifically, because I want to see two very good basketball teams line up at either end of the row, point their jousting sticks at each other, and just run at each other. This is going to be very, very cool. This part of the playoffs now finally excites me. I'm finally getting into it. I'm not talking about tomorrow with Cleveland, Orlando. I'm not talking about the other Western Conference matchup. I'm talking about this particular moment right now, today, with two series that have lots of history behind them that are trying to write their own brand new chapters. I'm excited.
You should be.
Pound the table, folks.
Yes.
Pound the table.
94.
Feels like it, right? Well, we are in 2024. We had a monster roast last night of Tom Brady, but is it possible for us to have a little roast here in North Carolina? We'll discuss next on The Adam Gold Show.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It is playoff time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, people. Adam Gold here, and new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. Just tell them you know me. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. Hurricanes goals, Nikola Jokic triple doubles. I don't know. $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you make your first $5 wager. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. It's that easy to make sports even that much more enjoyable. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
NASCAR stars shine at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. The NASCAR All-Star Race, Sunday, May 19th. Get your single-day tickets now and see NASCAR's best battle it out on one of NASCAR's most historic tracks. Country music phenom Warren Ziders rocks the pre-race stage, free with your race ticket. Only North Wilkesboro Speedway can deliver this kind of all-star action and excitement. The NASCAR All-Star Race. Get your single-day tickets today at northwilkesborospeedway.com.
When you want to start something new, you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're a first-time student or returning to college, CFNC is right there with you. From deadlines to financial planning to completing your FAFSA, CFNC helps students of all ages in North Carolina stay on track and navigate the college process. Create an account today at cfnc.org and start your something new.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Charlotte this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 25 different sports. The Body Armor State Games features 13,000 athletes and 700 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Harris Teeter, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Avant Articulated Loaders for the right equipment to help get your work done. Avant makes the most multifunctional loaders in the world. Whether you're a landscaping pro or homeowner serious about property maintenance, you need an Avant loader. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized Avant dealer for sales, service, part, and rentals. Visit one of our 7 locations or actce.com for more details about Avant Articulated Loaders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we like calling North Carolina home because being local matters. It's why in every county, we have agents whose hometown is your town. That means we're there when you need us most, with personal service you'd expect from a friend or neighbor. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Healthcare is in crisis, but there is a solution. Adults with a primary care physician have 33% lower healthcare costs and better health outcomes. It's time to reinvest in family medicine and other primary care specialties, the foundation of our healthcare system. Let our state and our insurers know that it's time to increase investment in primary care. To learn more, go to primarycarenc.org. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina Academy of Family Physicians.
This is Adam Gold.
He takes the hat. It was like somebody who works there was wearing a baseball cap. Takes it off the kid's head and puts it on the hostess station. Just takes the hat off this guy and puts it down.
Excuse you?
Like, that's exactly what I went. I'm like, excuse me?
Right.
What are you doing?
The Adam Gold Show.
This Whitney?
It is.
This is some old Whitney. This is some underrated album cut Whitney Houston.
It is. But it's all the bump music today's been like day by day, step by step. We got this, Canes.
Lift up, lift yourselves up.
Right.
Okay, I'll go for it. Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold today on this Monday. That was Victoria's voice you heard. Want to get you caught up on a few things. If you're just sliding into us this afternoon or you've been spending the last hour with us and you may have missed a few headlines, the Carolina Panthers are going to sign Rashad Penny. This is according to the NFL Network and ESPN. Penny played for head coach Dave Canales with Seattle for a couple of seasons there. He played last season with Philadelphia. So the two know each other really well. But as you all know, Panthers fans, it's a very crowded running back room right now with Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard. We just signed the Texas running back, Jonathan Brooks. We have, it's full.
There's a lot.
It's full. Blackshear, Cohen. They even have Jaden Sheridan, rookie free agent, who I just had to scroll through here. That's a very full running back room. This is about getting Penny some tape, I believe. I mean, maybe he could surprise somebody and take a gig, maybe practice squad, but he does understand Canales' offensive system because of the time they spent together in Seattle. So there is a move to be made there. I'm not sure if he's going to supplant anybody. Matter of fact, I don't think he's going to supplant anybody unless he surprises someone or that depth chart just falls apart as we get into camp. Camps start this weekend, by the way.
Yeah.
Rookie camps get underway.
It's crazy.
So
it's fast.
Yeah, and we're expecting the announcements of the NFL schedule, so that's happening. North Carolina fans, Deja Kelly, before the weekend, decided that she was not going to return to North Carolina. We now know her landing spot. Deja Kelly, three-time All-ACC guard, is going to Oregon. So a loss for North Carolina, but a win for the Oregon Ducks, who could certainly use her help as they try to rebuild. Let's be honest, for those of you who follow college basketball, certainly on the women's side, the Oregon women have had a tough run the last couple of years since Sabrina Ionescu went professional. They lost a lot of people in the transfer portal. Tahina Paopao, who you might remember from the women's Final Four, played for South Carolina and was a three-point shooter. She was an Oregon transfer. So they're in a rebuilding mode out at Oregon. But that is a big pickup for the Oregon Ducks and a loss certainly for North Carolina. So those are the two of the bigger stories that have come out this afternoon here locally, as well as the Snoop Dogg Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if Martha Stewart's going to be a part of it.
She could do the coin flip.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, if you're going to go all in and make this happen,
might as well.
Just lean into it. The former Barstool Sports Bowl that is December 28th in Tucson, Arizona, is now being called the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop.
Because why wouldn't it be?
He actually, he launched a football league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Snoop Dogg is really into high school football, really into junior football. His son was going to play at UCLA, but decided that he's no longer going to play football. So the quote unquote, they're going to bring the juice back to college football.
Love it.
So listen, the halftime show there will rival the Super Bowl if they have their way with it.
Oh, man, always winning halftime shows there now.
Having seen Snoop perform on his own, just him by himself, if he decided to do it, it would be off the chart. It would be fun.
Yeah.
Like, it would be fun. I mean, that's college football got leaned into so hard with NIL and collectives and things like that and players making money that I still think that we forgot what it is we love about college football, which is like the sport. Like, we love the sport, no matter who's out there on the field. And whether we get routed 77-0, that's just heartbreak. But we still come back for the next game. We don't abandon the team. We might whine and moan and groan about it, but we don't abandon the team because we like the sport. And I think that's what college football is about. It is about tradition to a lot of it, but it is about fun too, because that's where you get to make a lot of these memories, certainly as players and certainly as fans. All right, last night, a monster spit was rolled out in Los Angeles with the Tom Brady roast. And for a little bit, we touched on, Victoria and I touched on the fact that there would be a lot of targets within the Carolinas that might happen that could set up very nicely, but could they have enough cachet as Tom Brady? And Tom Brady had the cachet, and this was on Netflix last night, and this ran for almost 3 hours, to where he brought out like the mainstream celebrities.
Yeah.
And it was former players and former teammates of him, which I think helped liven it up a little bit. But it was also the question mark of who was going to show up and who wouldn't be there. You had Kevin Hart as master of ceremonies. Kevin Hart, about as mainstream as you're going to get for a comedian right now. Like, he is on top of his game. He's in a ton of movies and has a household name. I remember meeting the guy many years ago when he was just rolling through the stand-up, and he still carries himself like a superstar.
Bunch
and
of commercials, too.
Yeah, and he is out. He was on one of those betting commercials. And he's got, other things going on, and he has a movie on Netflix, too, which made for a natural transition for him. And then you have the comedians who are there, too, but the comedians tend to roast each other. They're not about the mainstream product or whoever the guest or the roastee is. They tend to focus a little bit more on themselves, especially if they don't know who the roastee is. Everybody knows Tom Brady. Everybody took their shots at him. Kevin Hart, they invited Peyton Manning in. They invited, again, some comedians in. They had former players. It was a classic yuck fest to where they could take him on right away. It was fun. It was fun. So I think to myself, Victoria, this is Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today. I think to myself, who in the Carolinas, in North Carolina, would be like a prime time bullseye target, can't miss center of a roast?
Yes.
In the Carolinas. And so you roll back, and I don't want to go too far back because, again, we're trying to bring all the milk. The milkshake needs to bring all the boys to the yard.
Right.
At this point.
Cookout. Just call us cookout.
There you go. Full cookout backyard. Here we are. And so how do we get everybody to be in on the joke? And I'm not sure there are too many people from the Carolinas, because I lean in on, like, so the obvious like steer is to the Carolina Panthers, right? Carolina Panthers, it's the NFL. The NFL is the big juggernaut. We're just talking about Tom Brady. And so within the collection of former Panthers players is Greg Olsen. Would people pay for Greg Olsen to be roasted? Would that feel almost too inside at times?
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to go with that generation, it should be maybe more like Steve Smith.
Okay, Steve Smith.
Steve Smith would probably be a good one,
because
I think
short
he would
jokes.
also. Yeah, a lot of short jokes, a lot of ice up son, a lot of like a lot of those kind of things. There's more to work with Steve Smith, and plus with him being in the spotlight still, him and Dave Doran having their little thing over the last season during college football. Like, I think he would be probably the most relevant.
Okay, so Steve Smith. So we didn't talk about Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Would that be overly entertaining, or would it be hard to take shots at Cam Newton? Like, fun shots.
I think he'd be great. I think he'd be great at it. Like, I think he would be lighthearted enough. He would laugh at it, and he obviously gives us plenty of material. So many hat jokes, so many fashion things, so many like Superman thing. I mean, yeah, we would have a lot of fun with it.
Cam Newton. Okay, so the Carolina Panthers seem to be there are a couple of targets there. If I turn to, say, the Charlotte Hornets, would there be someone in the lexicon? I could only think of maybe like Grandmama.
Yeah.
Like Larry Johnson would be the guy because of the commercials that he did back in the day. But then again, I'm trying to bring a little bit more relevance to the table, right? And I'm not saying Larry Johnson isn't relevant. Larry Johnson at UNLV, stud basketball player, even more so in the professional game. But I start thinking, okay, worldwide appeal, which is why I'm struggling with like the Carolina Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, outside of Rod Brind'Amour.
Yes.
Outside of Rod, really, is there?
Not really.
It's kind of, you would struggle, right?
It would be a struggle for sure.
You would struggle. So, okay, professional teams, put those on one side.
Now, it's like with the Hornets, before you go to the other side, we'd have to get like Michael Jordan. Like, there's nobody. I mean, just from him being an owner for a splash in the pan.
Right, but it feels like we've done Jordan.
Yeah.
We had The Last Dance on Netflix.
Right.
And so, like, there's relevance there in that aspect of things where he was a former owner and, yes, greatest of all time, right there on the precipice. But if you pull back and like, okay, a lot of people don't remember Jordan's playing days. If you're of a certain age, Jordan is not your generation.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Kobe is not the generation for some kids as well. And they know LeBron. And now they lean on
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry and Anthony Edwards. Like my nephew is a Steph Curry fan, and he's 14 years old, and he played basketball because of Steph Curry. Okay, let's set the pros aside. College.
Mm-hmm.
We have lots of colleges here, lots of big name talent, clearly a lot of names that will roll out there. But is there a name or two that again, brings everyone to the yard, that we would all be in on it at the same time, to where we know we could roll over to PNC Arena, we could roll up to the track at Wilkesboro, and fill the grandstands and go, yes, we're going to go have a good time with this person.
100% Coach K.
Mike Krzyzewski.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. He's the first person I would think of, and I think a lot of people would go. And there's a lot of material.
There would be play. That would be almost overkill, to where if you could combine that by creating the all-star dais of the other college coaches that were around him and knew him, that could be all a part of it. I mean, Roy Williams clearly from UNC. You could bring in, Jay Williams would be great on the dais because
of
love it. Being a former player. Matter of fact, Jay Williams cracked a joke this morning during First Take, talking about, hey, we should do a roast on here on ESPN of somebody or whatever it was. And it was just like, okay, he's already into it. Like, he's already leaned in. At this point, you just got to tell him where to be.
Exactly. He's there.
Where do you want me to be? I'm all over this. That Coach K would be an interesting bit.
Yeah.
An interesting bit. We would pay for that. I think we would all pay for that, right?
Sure.
Coach K, open invitation. Here it is. Coach K roast.
Yeah.
Charity of your choice. We'll all set this up. Like, I think there's a lot of minds in this community that would be all about that.
Mm-hmm.
And all you got to do is sit there and take it.
I know. So many people would sign up for it. I think Dave Doran could be next, like maybe if he, has a longer career, but Coach K everybody knows Coach K, even outside of North Carolina.
Yeah, there would be a little bit. All right, we need to roll things back here. Time for a little rewind here. We talked earlier with Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco about last night's win, 4-3 by the Rangers over the Carolina Hurricanes, and I asked him about how big of a hole it was for the Canes to dig out of after that first period.
Yeah, it's that's kind of the story, Paul, when you look back on the game, that you give up those 2 power play goals in the first period, and the final score is one where you're going to be lamenting as you're the Canes that you lose this game by 1, because it came down to special teams. And it's what Rod Brind'Amour said after the game too. It's the Rangers get those 2 power play goals. The Canes got their cracks on the power play, didn't score, and you skate out of game 1 looking up in the series standings, meaning, well, we got to try to find a way to win game 2. You don't want to come back to Raleigh down 2-0. But I think overall it wasn't a terrible game. It was just a couple of moments on the penalty kill and, a loose moment to start the game, but the Canes answered right back after Zibanejad opened the scoring less than 3 minutes in. So, it's one of those things where, if you can put it in a vacuum, and you can't do it, Paul, I know this.
Yeah.
But if you can, if this was a game in December, you're like, well, the Canes, they fight, they stay in it. They didn't just say on to the next one. They actually, in the third period, were way better than the New York Rangers, but that in, $6 now can get you a cup of coffee somewhere. So that's about it.
Yeah, wins and wins or losses, and that's how it rolls out. Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. And, Mike, that goal by Marty Necas felt like the Canes really had some momentum going, like that ice had tilted. And in the playoffs, we know the ice shrinks a little bit, but it felt like it had opened up for the Carolina Hurricanes at that point. But that 5-on-5 battle still needs to be something that the Canes really need to strive to win even more so, with now just 6 games left to turn this thing around.
Yeah, that's the one thing for me is 5-on-5. It was the first period kind of even, second period, Canes started getting to their game. That, to me, was where if the Canes were going to win it, they were going to get on the board with a second period goal. And they didn't. And you can run down all of the numbers all you want. And I know that they're a volume shooting team. That doesn't necessarily translate to shots on goal. Shots on goal can be a deceptive stat too, Paul. But I didn't think that the Canes were getting the volume of shots that they normally get that get through. The Rangers didn't block a ton of shots. This isn't like how the Islanders blocked 38 shots in the first game or the second game of the series last week, 2 weeks ago against the Canes. So for me, they played a really good road period in the second period. They needed to play better than really good. They needed a great road period. They needed a road period where they scored a goal, took the fans out of it at Madison Square Garden, kind of put a little bit of fear in the Rangers to the third. Now you go into the third and you score that goal early by Marty Necas, and just an absolutely gorgeous setup by Jordan Martinook, who is, we should start calling him Mr. Second Round for Carolina, because he was unbelievable last year against the Devils, and that's a hell of an assist that he gets to get Carolina within one. But then it's a loose play, and you let a guy who might be the Hart Trophy winner, the MVP of the league, come screaming down the wing. I know it's a save that Freddie Anderson, or a shot that Freddie Anderson wants back, but it's one you got to get the stop. But you can't let that happen, not in a playoff game, not when you're down a goal, and not when you're on the road. But, there is, and this is going to sound like coach speak, there's a lot of good that Carolina can take out of it, but you can't have that bad that was in that game show itself again in game number 2, or you could be coming back to Raleigh down 0-2.
Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco here on the Adam Gold Show. And Mike, we know Seth Jarvis getting that late goal there, his third in as many games. But there's another play I want to turn my attention to. Maybe it's unfair, maybe it's not, but you can walk me back if you want to. Right now, between Toronto and Boston, of which Toronto got ousted last night by the Boston Bruins, there's a lot of talk about Mitch Marner right now, and how he didn't show up in the playoffs, and how he may be on his way out of town, or whatever that happens to may be. I don't want the end of this series, when it leads the Canes' way, or whatever it is, to have Jake Gensel be part of that similar conversation with Mitch Marner. Call my baby ugly on that one. But I'm looking for him to press a little bit more. Maybe he's just pressing too much, because he's getting opportunities. He's just not cashing in.
I think that's the thing that we're all looking at here. And the funny thing is, people are coming up to me going, "What's wrong with Jake Gensel? And how come he's not playing that the expectations are at the level that he had at Pittsburgh?" And I take a look now, 1 goal, and it's an empty net goal. I get it, but the Canes have played 5 playoff games or 6 playoff games, and he's got 5 points. Now, he was brought here to score goals. He was the reason why the Canes, who don't do rentals usually when it comes to the trade deadline and adding for the playoffs, the reason why they went after and focused their attention on Jake Gensel is he scores playoff goals. I don't think that he's in the Mitch Marner category, just because of all of the pressure that has been on the Toronto Maple Leafs forever and their little core group of players. And if anybody does anything wrong, and the funny thing is, I thought Marner was actually okay in the playoffs for Toronto, but that's for Toronto talk show fodder, not for us here in Raleigh, Paul. But I get where there is a concern, because Jake Gensel was brought here to score goals in the playoffs, and the only goal he has right now is that empty netter. So what can be done? I think it's really simple, and maybe it is pressing. Maybe it is squeezing the stick a little bit more and wanting to be the difference, wanting to be the guy who changes the fortune around. For me, the simple thing is just shoot the puck. If Jake Gensel goes out of the game with 6 shots on goal, I don't think anybody on the team, I don't think any fan, I don't think any of us who talk about the game is going to be upset with a Jake Gensel 6-shot on goal performance. So I think it becomes a pretty simple edict. And against a team like the Rangers, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to put the puck on net. And what I mean by that is, if you try to make the fancy play against them, they're really well coached. They've got really good players, and they're going to anticipate things. So you've got to be either letter perfect with your passes, or just throw it on net. And the Jarvis goal that you referenced, yes, it's an extra attacker for Carolina, but that was caused by putting the puck on net and having a little bit of havoc in front of Igor Shesterkin. And that's one of the things that Jake Gensel was known for in Pittsburgh, of when he'd get the puck, he was just going to put it on net. So I think that he knows he's got to do that a little bit better and a little bit more. What's the word that I'm looking for here? I don't want to go too hyperbolic here in game one and round two, but I think he's got to put it with a little bit more tenacity than what he is doing in the offensive zone. He doesn't need to defer to Andrei Svechnikov or Sebastian Aho. He's Jake Gensel. He can put the puck on net.
Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco here on the Adam Gold Show. Mike, last one for you here. I've said this after last night's game that even superheroes need days off, and head coach Rod Brindamore has leaned on Freddie Anderson. He got them the Series 1 win against the New York Islanders, came back last night against the Rangers. Even superheroes need the night off. Is it time for a goal change, much like we saw? I keep referencing Toronto-Boston. They made a quick goal change early on just to give the Rangers a slightly different look than they've already seen in the playoffs from the Carolina Hurricanes in net.
That I think is the number one question that's being asked by the Carolina Hurricanes coaching staff is, do you give Pyotr Kochetkov, who has good numbers against the New York Rangers in his career, he has good numbers at Madison Square Garden. Now, it's not a huge sample size, but he likes to play there, and he likes to play against Igor Shesterkin. Do you give him that? The funny thing is, Paul, the text that I got had nothing to do with Frederik Andersen playing too many games, although that's part of it. But it was the layoff too much for the Carolina Hurricanes between Game 5 of the Islanders and Game 1 of the Rangers series. So he had time off. It's not like the Canes went right from a Game 7 to Game 1. But this is an interesting question, and I think that if you leave it up to Frederik Andersen, he's going to want game number 2. He's going to want to go and play and show that the last game, and he wasn't great against the Islanders, even though he was the winner in the closeout game in Game 5. And again, that Game 1 against the Rangers, I can't fault him on the power play goals. I mean, those are just great plays by New York. And then the other one is the Zibanejad goal that kicked it off is, again, it's a mistake where the Canes miss coverage and you let one of the best players in the league alone out in front of your netminder, and that becomes a 50-50 play. But the thing for me is, if you're the Hurricanes, if you think Freddie is the guy that is going to be the goalie who wins you the cup, I think you have to give him game number 2. This is me talking. I think you have to give him game number 2, and then you can go from there. If you don't get the result you want at Madison Square Garden tomorrow night, then you can say, all right, let's give him the look of Pyotr Kochetkov, and we can go from there. Or you can go into that game with I always hate saying giving a goalie a short leash. I hate that, Paul, because I think that you've got to, if you're giving the goalie the start, you're telling him it's his game to go out there and lose, but you're giving him the opportunity, go win it. Never say go out there and lose it, because if a goalie knows that, you hear, oh, he's on a short leash. If he gives up a goal in the first whatever, you might say, well, then just play the other guy if you're going to put the starter on the short leash. So I would never question anything that the Canes have done with the goaltending ranks, especially the last half of the year. So I'm going to give you a bit of a cop-out answer. If they want to go with Pyotr Kochetkov in game number 2, if they feel that that's the right decision with what you're saying, give Freddie a chance to watch a game and mentally reset while the puck is in action, that's fine. It worked in the regular season. But if they also want to go, all right, Freddie, this is your crease. Show us why we're going to give it to you. And he turns in a sparkling performance, which he's fully capable of doing, it can work that way for the Canes. Because you're still going to have that question mark, though, Paul. If you play him in game 2 and he wins, people are going to be going, well, he hasn't played this many games in a row since. And we all understand that. But I think that he's at least earned the opportunity. If he feels good and he wants to paint on Tuesday night, then you should give it to him.
Canes play-by-play announcer Mike Maniscalco joining us here on the Adam Gold Show earlier today. This is the hottest ticket in the NHL, Carolina and the New York Rangers. The get-in price for tomorrow night's game, 7 o'clock puck drop, by the way, for those of you who weren't aware, the NHL announced 7 o'clock for tomorrow night, Tuesday night, as well as Thursday night back in Raleigh for the first of 2 games there. $255 to get in to the building for the Hurricanes and Rangers game 2, of which right now, again, game 1 went to the Rangers 4-3, in which Vegas couldn't figure out which team it wanted to favor the most. Tomorrow night's game, Tuesday night's game between Carolina and New York, regardless of goaltending situation, regardless of who takes the ice, who's still healthy and whatnot, Carolina's still favored
Wow.
in this one.
Okay.
Minus 120 on several books that I've just glanced at over the past couple of minutes. So this one is going to be a battle. No doubt about it. For you NHL playoffs fans, this is where the rubber meets the road. Time for, as Bill Shonley, play-by-play announcer for the Portland Trailblazers, used to say, time for a run down Ulcer Gulch. These are those series where they give you a little bit of extra heartburn and make you just squeeze just a little teeny bit tighter to your loved ones. But I'm here for it, and you should be here for it too. It's exciting. 7-game series still coming up. Adam Gold, by the way, will be back tomorrow. I appreciate Adam for letting me sit in his chair for one afternoon. It has certainly been a pleasure and an honor to fill his shoes for one day, however small or large they may be. Thank you so much, Victoria, for hanging out with me again today.
Always fun.
I know you are back tomorrow. Enjoy the sports, everybody. Enjoy the Monday. Keep it on the shiny part.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Have you ever had a chocolate chess pie? That can be a life-changing event. Seriously, it's that good. Or my wife's apple pie. Yes, that good. How about another life-changing event? I had LASIK. I met Dr. Lori Travers at Travers LASIK, and this is, by the way, way better and longer lasting than a chocolate chess pie. And she took me from 20/250 vision to 20/20 vision, totally painless. Took about 5 minutes per eye, and I have not had to use contact lenses or glasses ever since. She changed my life about a dozen years ago. All you got to do is go to Dr. Lori Travers. She is the Triangle's only LASIK specialist, and Travers LASIK is the best place to go. 0% financing for 24 months is available. You can even save $1,000 right now. Go to Dr. Lori Travers, 919-510-6830, 919-510-6830. You can get a free consultation. TraversLASIK.com. Change your life for the better, and do it now. Travers LASIK, 919-510-6830 or TraversLASIK.com.
Attention soccer fans, North Carolina FC invites you to be part of the excitement. Join us in our electrifying games with top-tier players, thrilling goals, and unforgettable moments. Experience the thrill of this beautiful game with North Carolina FC. Get your tickets now, NorthCarolinaFC.com.
This is the absolute worst time of the year to be dealing with joint pain. You can't do the